We are live. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Elliot here from Movie Files. I'm very excited to be here tonight because this is my biggest watch along yet. We are watching one of the biggest films of all time. It's the fifth highest grossing film of all time, second highest grossing film in the MCU. It's celebrating its 2-year anniversary. We're talking about Avengers Infinity War, and I couldn't watch this movie by myself. I had to bring my own Avengers. I had to assemble my own team, kind of put my Nick Fury hat on for a bit, and got some great guests that I want to introduce you guys to. But before we dive into it, if you're new to this channel, definitely subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new content. Make sure you like this video. If you're in the live chat, make sure you leave some comments for my guests. We're talking about everything, guys, not only Infinity War, but we'll talk about our favorite MCU films, our favorite characters, what we hope to see in the future, and just breaking it all down. We're just going to have a good time tonight. I'm really excited to have this watch along with you all. And again, I'm really excited to have my guest on. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce these Avengers, my team of Avengers that will be watching this film with me tonight. Starting off with my friend from up north, we got Brandon, BrandoCritic. He has a lot of great content on his channel. He's going to kind of introduce you guys to himself, what he's about, what his channel is about, and also who his favorite Avenger is. So, Brandon, what's going on, man?
What's going on, guys? How's it going?
Good, man. Good.
Well, yeah, you set him up from up north. So my name is Brandon, aka the BrandoCritic, and it's my job on my channel to point you guys in the direction of movies worth checking out. That's what I say before every single one of my videos. I thought I'd say it here. And I am from Vancouver, British Columbia, which makes me, I think, the only Canadian in this stream. So I guess I could be Captain Canuck, right? And in terms of favorite Avenger, I'm gonna have to go with Captain America in terms of like the OG Avengers, because no matter what happens, he always sticks to his morals, right? You know, I can do this all day, right? It doesn't matter what everyone else is saying. He knows his morals and he sticks to them. And I can really get behind that. And then I guess for runner-up, I'd say Ant-Man, you know, just because he's happy to be there. And then for, you know, when the going gets tough, he's the one who gets all the really badass moments. So I'm going to go with those two as my favorites, at least for the favorite Avengers.
Love it. Love it. Awesome. Glad to have you on tonight, Brandon. Welcome, welcome. So we got Brandon up north, and I got someone from Michigan, Q Reviews. Great guy, got a great energy, a lot of great content. What's going on, Q?
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks, Movie File, so much for having me on tonight to watch one of my favorite movies of the Avengers, Infinity War, with my boy Thanos. And yeah, as far as my channel goes, you know, I just love talking about movies. I get on there and we have a zany time with skits, whatever I can come up with, you know, maybe drink some raw eggs, I think, for the Venom video, and eat ramen noodles out of the package hard, you know, that don't ever do that. That's not a good idea. But definitely. One of my favorite Avengers, I got to go with the guy who started it all, my boy Tony Stark. It's a close between him and Captain America, but one of my favorites, Tony Stark. When I seen it all, I mean, in 2008, I seen that movie. It blew my mind. Like, oh, this is Robert Downey. This is what he's supposed to do right here. And then, of course, it carried out, you know, throughout the next 10 years. And he's my favorite Avenger. So I can't wait to get into this. And thanks for having me.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad to have you. And we'll have some conversations about Team Cap versus Team Captain or Team Iron Man a little bit later in this live chat. So got a friend of mine here. This is one half of Talkin TV podcast. We got Chris up in the East Coast joining the chat. What's going on, Chris?
Yo, what's going on, guys? Happy to be here. Elliot, thanks for having me, man. This is going to be a good time, dude.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So as Elliot said, I'm one half of a team called Talkin TV, Talkin TV podcast on all social medias. You can see the little @ symbol down there. Basically, we're just two film students who missed being in school together and still wanted to hang out and still like sort of study film and talk about film, even though we're not, you know, learning and getting tested on it anymore. So we kind of come from that analytical standpoint on our show, but we're also expanding. We're also going to be trying to do more stuff on the YouTube space along with all you guys. So we're happy to be here. Only being a month on YouTube, this is great. And who also is great is Thor, my favorite Avenger. I love the Marvel cosmic stuff. It blows my mind. I think it's their strongest and most thought out place to play in, and I wish we would see more of it, and it seems like we're finally starting to get that. So yeah, I got to give it to Thor.
That's a great pick, man. And I'm right there with you when it comes to the cosmic stuff. I love that we're, you know, Guardians kind of started off, Captain Marvel kind of took it. And like you just said, we got Eternals coming up. We got a lot of stuff going intergalactic. Can't wait to see what we got in this next phase. So glad to have you on tonight, Chris. And then we got someone else representing the East Coast, my guy, one of the best voiceover actors I know in the game. He's a great guy. Bringing in Ron to the chat. What's going on, man?
Oh man, it's about that time for all the Avengers to start showing up, but we here. Thank you, Elliot, man. Yeah, my name is Ronald E Smith. I'm an aspiring broadcaster, voiceover artist, and interviewer. On my channel, which is my name, Ronald E Smith, I love to speak with content creators, whether it be cosplayers, voiceover artists, anybody in between that has a gift, that has a talent that they want to show up. And my goal and job is to get the people know them a little bit better. You know, we all got a story, we all have a history about each other, and we all have a journey to get to where we want to be. So that's my job. I want to get to know you, and I want to put your story out there because, hey, why not? You work hard, you deserve to get that little spotlight. And it's my favorite Avenger. Man, that's hard. But if I go with top of my head, I always got to go with the one that no one gets that real love for, but he deserves it. Hawkeye. Look, the man can go shoot hard with that arrow, but in the real, he's a good, honest man with a family, and he may not have the coolest suit, he may not have the biggest strength, but he has the biggest heart, at least to me.
I respect that, man, especially, you know, that is conveyed across with Jeremy Renner, and I'm excited to see what they do with him in the show and introducing a new Hawkeye. He's one of the few original Avengers that we have left, and that's a really good pick, man. I definitely commend that. And we'll talk about Hawkeye. If he was maybe in Infinity War, maybe some things would have worked out differently. Who knows? We'll talk about that once we get started. So last but not least, my guy representing the West Coast, got a lot of great content. One of my friends that I've been interacting with for the last couple of years on YouTube and Instagram, bringing in my friend David with Flix Talk. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, man? Glad to be here, David, for Flix Talk. If you guys don't know anything about my channel, just click the links below. So I like to do just reviews, whether that be TV, a little bit of TV, not as much, obviously, as Movie Files Elliot, but I do mainly movie reviews, whether that be on Netflix, whether that be just VOD. We're not in theaters anymore, unfortunately, right now, but I like to do that. But one big thing that I like to do that I'm missing right now is vlogs and out and about. If you guys know my channel, I am a collector of just, 4Ks, Blu-rays, and notably more DVDs that are out of print. So I'll go along and I'll just kind of take you along with me and you guys can see the hunt. So, but just jumping directly to my favorite Avenger, guys, it's my guy, Mr. Tony Stark right here. There he is, man. I mean, hands down, once again, Q. I mean, 2008 blew me away, and it was the start of something that, was just amazing. It spawned so many movies, so many team-up movies like we're going to see right now, Infinity War, and I'm super excited, man. I haven't seen this movie since I got it on physical a couple of years back, so it's going to be awesome to rewatch it.
Awesome, man. Well, we got some Iron Man fans, some Thor fans, some Hawkeye fans, Captain America fans. So it's going to be a fun conversation tonight, guys. And I can't be happier to have you guys on. So we're going to start this. I got my timer here. We've got 2 minutes left in regards. So we're going to start this movie at 6:10. So for all those that are at home, if you have the physical copy, go ahead and cue your film up. I'm right at 0 seconds, but it's also available on Netflix. So if you guys want to go ahead, turn on your Netflix app, get it started. We'll start this right at 1 minute and 45 seconds to go. But in the meantime, guys, I'll have a little round table in regards before we get started. Let me, guys, where does MCU, where do you guys fall? Are you guys big fans of the MCU? Are you excited for the future? Do you feel like after Endgame, there's really nothing big to look forward to? Brandon, what are your thoughts on the MCU, my friend?
I was actually thinking about this before I came on here. Iron Man back in 2008 was my very first date ever. Wow. I'm talking parents pick her up. We're in the back seat of the minivan. We'll be in the back. We won't look at you guys. I swear. So like the MCU will always have that kind of place in my heart. But I think for my taste for the MCU, it's like from then on, like I haven't seen The Incredible Hulk. That's the only film I haven't seen. But, every single other film, opening day. I wasn't a big comic book fan growing up, but I've always been a big fan of comic book movies. Like I watched the Spider-Man movies when I was a kid. So, this franchise where I'm like, yeah, I'm totally down for Avengers Infinity War, Endgame. Like those were the two big movies I was looking forward to. In terms of the future of the MCU, it might be a hot take, but it's like I see all those films like getting delayed, like Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, and with me, I think after Endgame, it's so appropriately titled that after that, and I go like, yeah, sure, I guess I'll go see those. But the excitement level it's not really there for me anymore. Because I think, with starting with Iron Man and then ending at Endgame, I felt like that was the perfect beginning, middle, and an end. Once upon a time, and they lived happily ever after. right? That was the story. And now that we're continuing this story, of course, I'm sure that, you know, Marvel has a great track record. I'm sure they're going to, you know, really make some real quality movies. But in terms of just my own personal, like, I can't wait to see this opening weekend. It's like, yeah, okay, if it comes along, I'll watch it, and I'm sure it'll be great. But that personal excitement is kind of, after Endgame, it's like,
coming down from that high. Yeah.
Got it.
I hear you, man.
No time to die.
And I want to hear you guys' opinion on this topic as well. But before we dive into it, guys, I'm going to have Ron take over in a little bit and give his answer there. All those at home and everyone in the panel, we're going to go ahead and start this movie. Whenever you guys are ready, got my remote in my hands. Hope you guys have your remotes at home. We're going to kick this bad boy off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pressing play now. Let's get this started. So, Ron,
let's do it.
Go ahead, man. What are your thoughts on the future of the MCU and where you hope things can go, and just your relationship with the MCU?
Oh man, I love it. I mean, before Iron Man kicked off, of course, all I really knew was DC. You know, I never really knew about Iron Man, or Thor, Captain America's. But when I saw Iron Man, just like all you guys, I fell in love with it. And then since then, I've been stuck on it since the get-go. And honestly, the only real MCU hero I knew was Spider-Man. And so, because of the animated TV series, but since then I've been on every single one, and especially when Spider-Man came on in Civil War, that blew my mind. Because I never thought we would ever see that do with all the deals with Sony. But since then, I've been hooked on it, and I love it. I love this franchise. I love these movies. Like, they captivate me every time. And for the future going, I'm excited. Like, I've seen Doctor Strange with Scarlet Witch, which I think she's, in my opinion, one of the most underrated MCU heroes. I think she's got
super underrated.
Future.
I gotta agree. I gotta agree.
And with the coming of the new stuff, Fantastic Four, with top of my head, I'm missing something else that got brought on with them. Dang it! But besides that, X-Men. X-Men coming in. I can't wait to see what they got for the future. And no matter what, I'll be there. Disney's got my money. They already know it.
You and me both, my friend. You and me both. Q, same question, my friend. What's your relationship with the MCU? Are you excited for the future? Do you feel like start from scratch is going to be a rough start from the MCU? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, of course. I'm a huge fan of the MCU. Especially, this was one of my favorite storylines, the Infinity War as a kid. So when I heard they was going to attempt to do this, I was like, how are you going to bring a purple grimace-looking monster to screen? How do you do that? You know,
it's not wrong.
How do you do that? Even in Avengers, when I seen them in the first time, like, you know, you see him in the chair, it's like, I don't know about that. But I was still excited because they were doing it. And then, of course, you watch that Infinity War trailer. If Thanos come out of that portal, I was like, okay, they have done it. That's one of the best CG purple monsters I've ever seen. And so, yes, I'm highly excited. Well, this phase 4, I don't know. I'm not too excited about it because I think the lineup is not as strong as it has ever been. I think it's actually the weakest it has been till now, but I don't know yet because we haven't seen these movies, of course.
Right.
But you know, I mean, just from what I'm seeing, you know, I'm excited, but it's to be seen, though. You know, I got to see what's coming out. I'm excited for Doctor Strange 2, directed by Sam Raimi. That should be interesting. Oh yeah, and
That's a great choice.
I'm always going to be excited for, you know, comic book movies, but I just got my eye on this phase 4 here. Hope it turns out okay.
You and me both, man. You and me both. Chris, same thing for you, man. Relationship with the MCU, future of the MCU. Your stage is yours, my friend.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to say it's a love-hate because there's not much hate, but there's also not much love, you know?
Okay.
For every movie that I thought was enjoyable and good, I think there is equally, if not maybe 1 or 2 more movies that I just felt like I spent $14 on that. And it's not because of the characters. Like, I'm an avid comic reader first and foremost. I've read, you know, when back when Captain America and they did that whole reveal where he said I am Hydra, like I was buying that series like every week, going to the store. Like Iron Man, I've read, like, you know, Devil, Dinosaur Girl, all that shit. Like, I've been picking it up. Sorry, Elliot.
I love it. Deep cuts.
For me, just the translation to the screen, just it feels so forced. You know, the formula, like forcing, like you said when I was checking out your Infinity War review, that love story between, you know, the Hulk and you know, Black Widow just came out of nowhere. Yeah. And things like that just take away from the nuance the comics have. So for me, I'm actually really excited for Phase 4 because I think they thrive in the cosmic realm. And the fact that we're going to be getting more of that just gives it bigger sandbox to play in is what I think they need. And it's hilarious to say given the scope of it all. But so, you know, I'm actually pretty positive about the future going forward from where it was.
Gotcha. I love it, man. And before we get into David's comments here, guys, again, just a little recap. We're about 4 minutes and 31 seconds into the film right now. We're about to watch Thanos kick Thor's ass, or Hulk's ass. We'll talk about that here in a bit in regards to how you guys feel about how they treated Hulk. If I were to criticize the trilogy of the arc of Hulk, we'll talk about that. But for y'all that are watching at home, we're just watching Hulk get demolished right now. And I love this opening scene, guys, because it just shows you
that Thanos has those hands, man. It's just he has that 1-2 punch, man. It's just crazy.
Hulk has no answers.
Three pieces in the shoulder right in his face.
It's so visually simple too. Like if you have all these characters, who do we have Thanos face first? Well, the person who's bigger than him, right? And so right away you start to see Thanos's power, right? And it's like you have all these movies, and you know, it's a hot take about Avengers 1 where it's like, you know, Loki, you know, sure he has all the character motivation and all that, but he doesn't have that intimidation factor where it's like, yeah, I can understand how the Avengers are going to beat this guy. Yeah. Right away, once you see this, it's like, okay, Hulk just got his ass beat. Yeah. This guy doesn't, like, he means business, right? So now if you establish that right from the opening scene, and again, like when you saw like the Marvel logo and you hear like, this is the Asgard ship, we need help. Whenever I hear like war chatter in movies, it always just like, you know, and then you see this death right here. Yeah. Oh, it's such a great way to establish stakes right away. Yeah. I love it. My screenplay teacher is going crazy right now. He's just like, this is just such great. It's a clinic. It's a clinic. Yeah, man. And the little trivia. Do you guys know who that voice was at the beginning of the film that did that kind of that war call to the call out the ships? Anyone know?
No. I don't. I forgot.
I have no idea.
Never crossed my mind actually.
Yeah. So. Little fun fact, that gentleman at the beginning is actually Kenneth Branagh. So if you guys remember, Kenneth Branagh directed the first Thor. Great director, great actor. So I love that little connection, you know, from the MCU. He kicked off, you know, with Thor and making a little appearance there. So I love that. So David, don't want to leave your thoughts out, man. I want to get your thoughts on your relationship with MCU, the future of the MCU.
Hey, no worries, man. I'm digging the movie. It's like I'm watching it again for the first time. Like, you know, I mean, just going back to the whole Heimdall death, it was that broke my heart because that was one of the underrated characters as well, I thought. Yeah, I mean, of course, he didn't get as much screen time because it wasn't about him; it was about Thor. But you know, as Asgard, he was the keeper of it. Anyways, but my relationship with the MCU started just like Brandon said. Not really collecting comics at all, but comic cards. For me, it was about the whole trading of different cards. I was a huge card collector. I would have the booklets. I'm sure you guys remember those with the plastic, you know, the translucent plastic, and just collect it. I know Q knows for sure. But
Pokemon, man. I'm right there with you, man. I got
So it just started from the love of each one, you know, seeing their strengths on the back, and of course you had the verses, the matchups. Those were always awesome. So once again, you know, I think you know, I forgot who said it, but you know, transferring that to visual, like we're watching in movies, I think they did a pretty good job. You know, comparatively to, you know, the other superhero series, I don't really you know, acknowledge too much, but that's fine. That's my own little thing. But I thought Marvel just kicked ass. They just did it so well. And even like the lower tier ones movies, they tried their best. And I mean, it's just, you know, it was just something that I did grow to love. You know what I mean?
No, and I appreciate you sharing that, man. And as you just mentioned, you know, not all the films work, you know, critically and financially. I mean, I think the worst film in the franchise in 24 films is probably the first Ant-Man, I think, was like 550 million, which is like anyone in Hollywood would love to get that film. So they just have this rhythm going. They know how to market their films, and we'll talk about the future here in a bit as far as excitement. And I have the list of films was coming out pretty soon. But before we kind of get into that topic, we witness, as Dave just said, you know, Heimdall, Thor's best friend, die, and now we're witnessing Loki, as Brandon was talking about, the villain in the first film. We've seen him kind of grow as this character, as kind of the anti-hero, which a lot of Hollywood movies are kind of giving us anti-hero type of vibes. But watching Loki die, what were you guys' thoughts within the first, you know, we're less than 10 minutes into the film, we're looking two critical characters.
I think it's great. Like if you have Loki die right away, especially from the new villain, like that, you know, I like, for me, and I think it was Alfred Hitchcock who said this, or whoever said it, but it's like a film is only as good as its villain. Right.
Yeah.
So like I know like Batman, of course, like Batman's like the least interesting. It's always the Joker and it's, you know, all of his villains, but that's just an example. But you know, if you see like the villain of this movie just kill the villain in the first movie that easily, you know that okay, this like shit's gonna come down in this movie. Like you know, people are kind of like, I saw this in the theater, people were like kind of clenching their seats, like okay, like we're in
There's
for a
some
roller coaster.
hardcore low-key Tom Hiddleston fans out there, and no, I couldn't agree with you more, Brandon. Setting the stage, as you had mentioned, with Hulk being taken out so easily. Low-key, the villain of the main Avengers that put the team together is now gone. But in particularly, you know, watching Thor and Ron, what's your thoughts on kind of where Thor is at? You know, this film is obviously picking up immediately after Thor Ragnarok. We obviously have Black Panther, but there was really no direct connection into this film, even though it was the film prior to this. But what's your thoughts on Thor and where he's at as a character and where he's grown to be, Ron? What's your thoughts on Thor?
I mean, if you really think about it, after we all left Thor Ragnarok and they lost their home and all Asgardians, him and Grant, he fought his half sister. And after all that nonsense, they all went away and they're like, okay, we all together, we're all good. We come into this, it's all gone. It's all gone. Like and not only that, he's lost supposedly, you know, his good friend and his brother. Like it's insane. Like, the chat, sorry, I see the chat of a good man. I know.
Fine. Keep going.
This guy's great. But no, like it's heartbreaking. Like you feel for Thor for everything that he's growing, especially as for himself growing as a character and how he became right now. We're all with him. We feel like depleted, we feel depressed, and it shows that, you know, now where is he? You know, and how in the world, if Thor and his people couldn't stop Thanos, who can? Yeah. And I think that's a great way to start the film, to get us to us and get into the mode of wondering how this all going to end up. Yeah. And also the score.
We get our entrance, by the way. Sorry.
I love it.
No. I'm saying the same thing. The score.
No, I love it right now. And just to kind of let you guys at home again know where we're at, we're 11 minutes and 35 seconds into the film. So within 10 minutes, we've lost two characters. Thor was defeated. We got Hulk coming down from Earth, his first time being in Earth since Age of Ultron, because he was in, he was on Ragnarok, or he was at, which I love Jeff Goldblum's character. But we got the Hulk is now back. We got Doctor Strange, and now here. I mean, within 10 minutes, this is just one of the best openings of an MCU film to date, right? What do you think about that, Q, in regards to just taking yourself back to 2018, sitting down in theaters, just like what just happened?
Yeah, like you said, a film is only as good as its villains, and as you can tell from my background, I love villains, and Thanos was that villain. He was that dude, and he just, like, for him wrecking Hulk right at the beginning, I felt so sorry for Hulk. I was like, oh man, this big powerful being thing just got, you know what I'm saying? He got handled, you know what I'm saying, quickly within a minute. I was like, oh boy, it's going down. Now when they kill Loki and he looks at him in his eyes, and then he with the glove and just squeezes the life out of him while Thor watches. Thor loses everything. He loses all of his people. He loses his brother. He's not really all he has to do is to get back to the Avengers to try to stop this threat, even though it's all his power. So the movie, I think, is it's them coming together. But Thor, man, it's I think it's a later scene in here where they actually talk about it, and it's so heartbreaking for a character to go through that. During all the Avengers, he lost it all. You know. Yeah,
great stakes set up right away, right?
Yeah,
he's lost everyone.
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah,
and we'll definitely talk about that in regards to when it comes to screen time. And I would love to get you guys' thoughts on this, Chris, in regards to storyline. In regards to characters. I know one of the biggest things, if this is your first time watching an MCU film, which I couldn't imagine how someone would feel about that. I would love to know if someone in chat, if this was their first entry to the MCU. But in regards to the characters, there's not a lot of character development in this film, but there are two characters that really pretty have an arc throughout this film, in my opinion. That is Thor. He's on a revenge journey, and then you have Thanos. So, Chris, I would love to know, what are your thoughts in regards to when you went into this film? What were some of your expectations? What were you hoping to see? And just what did you think?
Yeah, well, like one of my favorite endings to a Marvel film is the end of Dark World, where, you know, Loki kind of pulls the switch. He you know, because he's so not portraying him until the very last second where he poses as Odin and then he pulls the hat on everyone. And when I remember being in theaters and seeing that for the first time, being like, this guy's crafty, you know? I expected something to happen. I didn't expect it to happen that late in the film. So I've always viewed when Thanos takes him out in the very beginning as the passing of the torch from like the true compelling villain we really had in those first phases of the Marvel series, you know? Right. So for me, that moment was bittersweet because I was nervous because I wanted to see if someone could come and match what Loki has done for me personally as like a watcher with impact and all that. And I felt for Thor, you know, I mean, because he never, even when he did sort of count his brother out, like I think we saw the most of that in Dark World, where like he comes down and he's in the cell and he's like, I'm not here to, you know, mourn with you. I'm here to just, you know, get what I need to get. But that's still his brother. Like you see, like, you know, 40 minutes later in that film, he calls upon his brother. Like, I need you to fill out the master plan. So, like, Thor's been through it, you know? I mean, a lot of people want to say that, like, maybe a few other characters have been through it, but I don't think anyone's been through the thick of it as much as Thor in these first phases of the Marvel film, in my opinion, because that cosmic scale is so grandiose, you know?
No, I agree. Well said, man. Well said. And I'm gonna we got a lot of comments, guys. I see you guys' chat. We're gonna answer your questions. And again, I appreciate everyone that's in the chat now. Again, like I said up top, hit that you know, the subscribe button, and also, like I said, all my buddies on the screen now, make sure you click their links in the bio, check out their Instagrams or YouTubes. They got a lot of great content. So we're gonna get to some of these questions in the chat here in a bit. But David, we you know, we're all kind of laughing now because this is our first time seeing Tony Stark and Doctor Strange meet, and the back and forth. You know, that's one of my biggest things about this film was seeing Doctor Strange meet Spider-Man, Iron Man meet the Guardians. There was so much anticipation. So David, you know, I saw you crack a couple smiles in that first scene when we see Iron Man and Tony Stark. Who's your guy in that fight? Who do you got in that fight in regards to not physical fight, but just, you know, bars from bars, kind of going at each other, being snarky to each other? Who do you got?
Oh man, I'm such a Tony Stark fan, man. I mean, he's just not only, and it's funny because I would always battle, you know, people will get so mad at me. I say, Black Widow can't do this. She has no powers. Or Hawkeye can't do this. He has no powers, you know. And then people get so upset with me, you know, especially even like with Batman and stuff like that, right? So, but then I love, oh God, yeah. But then I love Iron Man, and he's just a man with a suit, right? But he also has the brains to match it. Not only the money, but, you know, he has the intelligence to supersede most people, I guess. And he just
upgrade on his phone though.
Look at that, right? I didn't even notice that phone. I didn't even notice
Captain America gave him the flip phone, and we all know Captain America lives in the past. So we'll let Tony slide on the
leave that phone alone.
We got a carrier.
I think I had that back in high school, but but yeah, definitely Tony Stark is my dude, man.
No, I hear you, and we're gonna talk about that in a bit in regards to maybe a particular storyline that we were all maybe hoping to see coming off of Civil War, which was the division between Cap and Tony. And we really didn't get that scene in this film. You know, some will argue that we really didn't get that in Endgame, but we'll talk about Team Cap versus Team Iron Man later in the chat. But just again, I want to read some of these comments as we kind of watch this scene play out. I kind of love this scene. Yeah, I love this scene here.
It's just so good.
It feels, even though we're talking about aliens and superheroes, it felt so grounded to me. I don't know why. Just seeing him pick up the girl that's falling on the ground,
it's
cars coming, it just feels raw.
The one take, it really grounds you. You're like, okay, like crap, you're right in the thick of things with all the people running and screaming. I remember watching this with my family, and like I watched this with my grandmother, and she'd never seen a single Marvel movie, and she's just like, like all these actors in the movie, like, oh my God, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are in one movie together, like, oh my goodness. So then we watched it her first time, and then of course we have introduction to Spider-Man. My mom's like, Spidey! That's the power of this movie for sure.
This scene right here, I was like, oh.
And this was our first time getting his Spidey sense, because he really didn't get that in the first in his solo film. But I love Ned. I love their relationship. Excited to see what we're gonna do.
One thing I really appreciate about what this reincarnation of the MCU is doing is like this feels like the first true Spider-Man. Now those Tobey Maguire films, they will always be near and dear to my heart. But this is who I read in the comics time and time again by all these different writers and authors. This age, this like finding out what the world's like. To me, this works. This like the characters work for the most part, but Spider-Man is one of those characters that like casting and just like who he is, where we meet him, too perfect in my opinion. You know.
Well, that brings up a great question, Chris. I would love this kind of quick round fire, starting with Brandon. Who's your favorite Spider-Man?
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, Ron?
Yeah.
Oh dang! Don't do that! Don't do me like that!
Don't do that.
Oh, come on, now. Why y'all be so
Fire, my
mean?
friend.
Oh darn it! Yeah, okay, yo, it's Tom Holland. He's a perfect two.
Okay, Q.
He's so cute. I gotta go with Tom Holland.
Put him in your coffee.
I'm with my friend from up north. As much as I love Tom Holland, I gotta go with Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, David.
Yeah.
Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't get
I
it.
grew up on Toby, but comic booky Tom Holland, man, it has to go with Tom Holland. I'm sorry. Like just overall, it has to go with Tom Holland.
Okay, respect. And I would love to know you guys' comments in the chat. Who's your favorite Spider-Man? For me personally, I'll cheat a little bit. I love Tobey Maguire in the older days of Spider-Man, kind of seeing him working in New York, working at the the Daily Bugle, seeing that. I love that aspect. And again, we all grew up to it, so I have a special spot in my heart for Tobey Maguire. Honestly, I know a lot of people don't give Andrew Garfield his props, but in regards to kind of a mixture of Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland, I think he did a good job of bringing in kind of that middle age, kind of just getting out of high school, approaching college. So I really enjoy what we get with Andrew Garfield. But when it comes to, as Chris and as a lot of you have mentioned, when it comes to the comic book version of what we've seen with, Spider-Man, the legend himself, Stan Lee, said it best. He created this Spider-Man character to represent the audience. What would it be like if we were in high school with these superpowers and meeting the Avengers? And I love how Tom Holland kind of plays that. And we'll talk about, I don't know how you guys feel about, Iron Man, Tony Stark replacing kind of the Uncle Ben storyline, but I love what we got with Tom Holland. So I think all three versions are great, and can't even leave out the animation version of the Spider-Man that we got there. But in regards to live action, they all have their own flavors.
Spider-Verse just got pushed back, unfortunately. I think
we'll talk about the release dates for not only MCU, but a couple other superhero comic book films towards the end. But another great scene here with Iron Man kind of upgraded his technology since last time we saw him.
Endless money supply.
Yeah.
Special effects are fire, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, they certainly spared no expense, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
No expense. No, it's
wasn't
great.
that like a running gag or something that like the MCU just like spent most of their budget on Thanos, like getting him perfect?
He is perfect.
I think
if
you're gonna put all our budget in one spot, I think that's the spot to put it in.
Who voices him again? Because I think they did an incredible job.
Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin, yeah. No, he's excellent.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, he was. I don't know if you guys remember before Ben Affleck was casted as Batman, just kind of going across the river on DC. That Josh Brolin actually was one of the running names that was up to be the Batman at one point, which would have been very, very interesting. But
yeah.
We all know how that played out.
That could have been cool. That's some Earth 2 stuff right there.
Yeah. I'm a big DC fan, and maybe we'll talk DC later in the chat. But I love that Josh Brolin has been able to play not only Thanos but also Cable and Deadpool. So the guy is very versatile.
Also, and I apologize if I'm jumping in too much, but
no, go right ahead, man. This is what it's about.
The Hulk to me is. I've never felt a dull moment with him. It's such a shame that he was in that. I was reading earlier today. He was in that studio hold where that's the only reason we have the one film from him back in 2008. But I would love to see more Hulk going forward.
Well,
he always shines.
That's a great point, Chris, and I would love to get you guys' thoughts on this. As Chris has mentioned, with Universal and the whole hold up with the character, and I don't know what the whole deal was in the contract, but only Hulk could appear in these, adventure films or team up films. But in regards to not Tom Holland, but Mark Ruffalo and Ed Norton, were you bummed out when Ed Norton got replaced by the, Mark Ruffalo? Are you guys happy with Mark Ruffalo? Do you think we don't get enough of him? What do you guys think there?
Mark Ruffalo is the only Hulk I know. I haven't seen the Ang Lee one, and I haven't seen the Ed Norton one, so I can't. I got to bow out of this conversation.
Gotcha.
No, I'm right there with you, Brandon. I feel no need. I think Mark Ruffalo he does such a good job. I don't want to taint the vision of it,
Right. And there's so many other movies that I need to see that and I've heard so many bad things about the Incredible Hulk, where it's like, oh, you haven't seen the entire MCU, and it's like, I'm okay with that, So
yeah, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
When I saw,
I did.
when I saw
Hulk. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let you. My bad.
I'll be quick. I promise. Edward Norton is one of my favorite actors. I love the guy, but it's a shame for me, because look, I remember that. If y'all, you really remember that original Hulk that was back 2002, 2003. That one was didn't do it for me at all. Really, really bad, really bad. But this one was. I felt the Hulk scenes were great, but for me, I've always thought the Hulk as a was a Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of a thing, and I just didn't feel like Ed Norton brought out, Bruce Banner for me, because he never came out to me as like a smart scientist. Again, it's a nitpick. That's personally just for me. But when I saw Mark Ruffalo in the Avengers as Bruce Banner with Hulk, that was what I wanted to see. Everything for him, telling us why he has a hard time with the Hulk, what he's done with him, and why he would do anything to get rid of it. And then finally, when he came to terms of it, I just, it's a shame of his evolution, his growth through the story as Hulk. It makes you wonder that there could have been more with it, But as a Hulk, as a whole for Hulk, no, Mark Ruffalo is the guy.
Gotcha.
Nice.
And I would love to get you guys' thoughts on that too, but I just wanted to show you got some supporters in here, Ron.
Cal, what up, brother?
Yeah.
What up, brother?
You got some other people in here too.
So I only
Connor.
saw the Hulk back in 08. I forgot there was a recast. Are you saying there was a recast from Ruffalo to
Ed
Norton to Ruffalo?
Yeah, I mean,
There was
That's
3 of them.
I've completely forgot that. That's so far back, man.
yeah, no, I think if I remember right, obviously that was in the very early days of the MCU. Hulk came out a year, or actually the same year that Iron Man came, or Iron Man 2, if I'm not mistaken, but it was like a 2-year gap between Iron Man and the Hulk. But from what I remember, I think there was just some behind the scenes issues. I think Edward Norton wanted to go a little bit darker with the Hulk, and obviously the MCU has its, limitations of how dark they want to go. But I think it just, Kevin Feige and Edward Norton just couldn't work things out. But Mark Ruffalo isn't a bad replacement, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm rolling with Ruffalo, man. I think he's just he looks like the Hulk too. Like when he changed, because they used the same special effect too. So like he looked more of the comic book Hulk, but still with that Ruffalo look at the same time. And I think he plays an excellent Bruce Banner as well. And his just his charisma. Edward Norton is one of the coldest actors, I agree, ever. You know what I'm saying? I think he played a good Hulk, but I think Mark Ruffalo just brings an extra special charm to the character. You know what I'm saying? I wish I would have seen more the same with Hulk. It's a shame what happened here in Infinity War and throughout what the Hulk is, but Endgame is a different story. But I think it's evolution, and a lot of people had problems with that because they didn't quite show the brooding Spanish Hulk. You know? I kind of wanted to see it, but I'm okay with it.
And that's where Connor is mentioning here. He didn't like how they handled Hulk in the last 2 films, and I definitely kind of agree with that. We never got to see Hulk get his revenge with Thanos. As far as a one-on-one fight, he obviously, we'll talk about Endgame towards the end, but he obviously was one of the biggest parts of why everyone, everything was handled at Endgame. But there's still a lot of room from Hulk. Mark Ruffalo said it himself in the last few months. There's still a lot of stories that him and Kevin Feige want to tell. I believe the whole issue with Universal and Marvel has been resolved. So I think they can they have Hulk now and he can have a solo film. But we all know Disney Plus is right around the corner. We have She-Hulk and the Hulk plays a big part in her storyline. So we'll get more Mark Ruffalo. I think he'll get some redemption in the future. But not to cut anyone off, but I love this moment here. I'm a big Guardians of the Galaxy fan. I don't know how you guys feel about the Guardians, but I love
best soundtracks
intro.
ever, hands down.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't agree more.
Rubber Band Man, the Spinners. It's a great track.
My
It's
sister's
Spinners, right?
humongous Orange fans.
Before I just say that, just like I know it's right. But you know what? Could I disagree with Connor there?
Yeah.
Definitely. So he's like, he didn't hand either. And again, if you don't like it, then it's totally cool. But you know what? I like the fact that Hulk got his ass beat the first scene, because now that kind of cripples the Avengers. So it's like now, like you can argue, like the Hulk is a great weapon in the Avengers arsenal. It's taken away right away. So now you are going into this fight with a handicap, right? So now it just makes the fact that we have one less Avenger to fight, it makes Thanos even more stronger, which makes the stakes a lot more. Like, it just feels like, how in the world are we going to be able to defeat this guy? So I'm more drawn in that way. And then in terms of the redemption, he's the one. Spoilers for Endgame, but big part.
Without Hulk, we don't know how things would have played out. But yeah, I know there's definitely arguments on both sides in regards to how people feel about the Hulk storyline, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit later. But I'm in the middle. Again, I can see the frustrations with especially diehard Hulk fans.
Yeah, me too, of course.
The Hulk smash, but MCU's doing something a little bit different. They're showing you the intelligent Hulk. They're showing you Mark. I mean, obviously they have a lot of big actors, and not all these actors, you know, they want to be on the screen too. So that plays a little bit into some contractual things, you know, being a CGI character versus seeing your face on the big screen plays a little bit of it. But I think we got a lot of Mark Ruffalo still left, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for him.
So
But
I actually gotta
I
gotta ask you, because he seems to be even more of like a comic reader than myself. Have you read much Hulk? Like, what's your take on like sort of like the dichotomy? Because I think Ruffalo does a great job of showing like the light to the darkness of the Hulk, you know.
Right.
But like, what's your take? Have you read many like solo Hulk comics? Because I honestly haven't.
Yeah, I read. I think the last story arc I read was like Planet Hulk, and of course, you know, was they kind of mix it up on the Thor Ragnarok there, and yeah, the dude. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Hulk, but I'm a fan of him. You're growing up, but you know, yeah, usually the comics I would read will be with him in the Avengers and some solo Hulk. But I read Planet Hulk, and you know, of course, he had all, and that storyline is awesome. And if they can, I don't know how you can do it again with, you know what I'm saying, with how it's wrapped up now, but I think they can still pull that off. But I think Ruffalo's the best that we had, you know. Yeah, even past Bale Bixby.
Well said.
Old school.
I know a couple people are reading a couple chats here. Just a little reminder. I'm sorry I don't have the cool technology. We're going old school. So for those at home, where we are in the film, we're 30 minutes and 28 seconds into the film right now. We're watching Hulk or Thor being woken up by Mantis and meeting the Guardians for the first time, which was another anticipated moment that I was looking forward to see, especially when Taika Waititi brought a little bit more of the humor out of Thor and mixing it with James Gunn's Guardians. This was a great moment. So Brandon, Thor, Guardians, do you like kind of where they're taking Thor in regards to the comedic element that we got with Thor Ragnarok and Taika Waititi, or do you miss kind of the more, you know, mythology and talking, you know, like kind of, you know, older kind of those Greek times? What's your thoughts on where they're taking Thor and where he's at now?
Well, you know what? I think it's great that we had a director like Taika come in who was able to really kind of mesh Thor's personality with Chris Hemsworth's personality. Yeah. I think it's a good merger. And of course, with Thor kind of being a little bit more comedic, okay, who do you pair him with? Do you pair him with Doctor Strange and Tony Stark? I don't think that could really work. You know, that's the dynamic. And it's like, you know, I'm glad though that with this movie, there's so many characters. Can you have like all 25 of them all fight Thanos throughout the entire film? You know, they have like 5 characters here, 5 characters here, 5 characters here. And I think just having Thor with the Guardians was a great placement.
Especially with Rocket and Groot and that interaction. Yeah, I agree with you.
And this interaction, like you're not going to get this, you know, Thor and Chris Pratt or, you know, Star-Lord. Like, again, just from a creative standpoint, it's like, okay, well, we need to have Guardians of the Galaxy get mixed in with the Avengers. Who's the character to link them? Thor. So, and I think obviously having Thor become more comedic in the last movie, I think that helps this scene out quite a lot.
Hey, so Ron, kind of, yeah, I love these moments. And Ron, I guess just kind of your thoughts on Guardians, where you stand. Are you a big fan of the franchise? Are you excited for the, you know, James Gunn coming back for the third one? What's your kind of thoughts on Guardians?
I mean, look, I am never afraid to say that I didn't know dilly jang squat about the Guardians.
Oh,
but
yeah, a lot of us.
But
yeah.
It's, you know, but when whatever MCU drops in, I'm always going to check out and give anything a shot. Why not? And I am pleasantly surprised. I'm like, man, I fell in love with all these characters. Like each and every one of them, like I cared about, and especially too because my sister, she loves this. Like she liked the MCU, but didn't really captivate on a group of characters yet until she saw Guardians, and that was a click for her. And after that, like I was sucked in on everything. I mean, Guardians 2, I liked. I didn't love it as the first one. You know, there's some things in it that I liked, but I wish that they would have. I think got a little bit too goofy, and that's saying a lot. I think that I love them. I love the comedic timing with each other. But when the Guardians continue to grow, I was saying I'm sold with these guys. And like you said, when James Gunn dealt with everything that he went through, I never thought he would come back because I know how Disney is. And sometimes Disney like to put their foot down and say, we're done with this. And that's it. We move on. But I guess, like I say, anything can happen. You know, don't poo-poo anything. You got to sit down and wait until cooler heads prevailed. And it did. And he's coming back. and he's going to direct the third one, which I'm super excited for. I am happy for this, and I think that one of the biggest underdogs of a film that none of us thought would work has become one of the biggest Disney properties that you cannot stop but see them everywhere, from their their stores, their clothes, their TV show,
theme parks.
You know, so who knew? Who knew that a talking raccoon in a tree that says 3 words will become so beloved?
It's all about story and characters. You deliver that, we'll watch anything.
Yeah, and we all know Vin Diesel, great voice actor too, with Iron Giant. But Q, I just wanted to kind of show you too. We got Perp Minded in the chat, man. He wants to say salute to you.
Oh, what up,
Definitely
Perp?
want to just make sure
Thanks for the sub, man. Appreciate it.
Seeing their fans out here. So Chris, so in regards to Guardians, man, fan, not a fan, looking forward to Volume 3. What's your thoughts on Guardians, my friend?
Yeah, so Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is my favorite MCU movie. It's also on Letterboxd in my list of just favorite movies of all time.
Nice.
Whoever said that about the soundtrack, spot on, you know.
Totally.
It's just one of those movies that has everything firing on all cylinders. And I think that first movie shows the best of what Marvel can do, because to me, they lose me when we're not having these moments right now, sitting around with the dialogue. Like, my favorite moment in Age of Ultron is before things go crazy at the party, when they're all just interacting with each other. And so, like, with Thor in the comedy, I felt like they progressed that so naturally. And so he just feels like one of the gang. And so that's where I think Marvel's at their best. I think that's where Disney's at their best with their films. And so I'm a Guardians fan all the way.
I love it, man. And I couldn't agree with you more. I think a lot of our favorite moments of Age of Ultron is that moment where the heroes are not, fighting robots, saving the world, but they're having conversations. These bigger than life characters sitting down, talking about Thor's hammer. I love that. So, David, I would love to get your thoughts on Scarlet Witch, Vision. The love story. I want to know all you guys' thoughts, but I want to start with David in regards to, this was hinted at Age of Ultron. At the end of it, he saves her, when Sokovia was in the air. Then we get a little of that relationship progressing in Civil War. She's at house arrest and they're having their back and forth. But now this is the first time that we see that they're in a relationship. How do you feel about it, David?
So let me jump back real quick, because I think I actually missed the last couple of rounds. Back to the Hulk. You skipped me for the Hulk question.
Go.
I'm in the minority. I thought Ed Norton, not only a phenomenal actor, I think he's a better actor than Mark Ruffalo. But I think the only reason we love Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk is because we've seen so much of him as the Hulk. If Ed Norton had maybe more of a chance, I think he would have been a little more on our brain. But that's not to say that that's not to say that I prefer him more. Of course, I love Mark Ruffalo because he is our Hulk now, but I think Ed Norton did a great job. Now, jumping to the last one, Guardians, I think that was the first time I had fun with the MCU. So the MCU was always a little more of a serious tone. Obviously, I mean, the world's being taken over, things getting blown up, right, left and right. Yeah. But it was just a little more fun with Star-Lord, Rocket, Groot, even Drax. Like, everybody was throwing in their own wit. Gamora, was probably the most serious of all of them, right? So the majority of that movie was a fun time. And then even with part 2, I mean, the entrance of part 2 alone is beautiful to me. You get that great song, you get that great battle scene. So I had fun with that. But jumping to this, Scarlet and Vision, awesome. I thought it was one of the better relationships that they showed on screen. I absolutely love these two characters, and I forgot who said it earlier on, but Scarlet Witch is extremely underrated. She's probably one of my favorite female MCU or favorite, superheroes in general. Not even female, just favorite superhero. I think she can wreck ass. We'll see at the end of this movie. In the Wakanda scene, she just kills it. So I go crazy for her, man. She's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Elizabeth Olsen's a great actress. Paul Bettany's great as well. And I would love to get your thoughts on it, Brandon, in regards to, WandaVision, a future show, and we're going to see them or potentially a alternate universe of them pretending that everything is happy. But just want to get your thoughts, Brandon, on the relationship. Do you feel it was earned? Do you feel it was rushed for? What do you think about and also I would love to know your thoughts on power level. I honestly, for those that have read comics, know that she's one of the most, if not the most powerful mutant in the X-Men universe. And I think we're going to explore that in future films, especially Doctor Strange 2. But again, going back to their relationship, Brandon, what do you think about Wanda and Vision?
Well, it's funny that you say that. Well, this scene right now is taking place in Edinburgh, Scotland. And what's funny is I had just bought my ticket to Edinburgh, Scotland a week before this movie came out. And I'm seeing this scene. And it's like, it's funny how things work out like that. So I know all these places that they've shot, and like just seeing it, I'm like, I don't know if you guys like walk through like a place in real life and you're like, oh, they shot this here. They shot this here. It's always a really surreal experience. Just a little fun little story. But in terms of Wanda and Vision, it's like I'm not the biggest comic book guy, so I don't know like all the like outer details outside of like the comics and everything like that. So I'm not the most well versed in that. I've always just thought they were cool characters in terms of their powers, but in terms of like story, in terms of character development, I definitely think that there's a lot more room for it to really be fleshed out. And I think that's why it's a good choice for them to do a Disney Plus show on them, because in the movies, obviously you got to make room for Captain America. You got to make room for Iron Man. You got to make room for, the characters who have gotten their own like movies. Exactly. So I think that in this movie, and again, it always changes with context. So I don't know where the WandaVision story will take place. Like, I don't know in the timeline. I don't know. So I think, watching that, it's going to give a lot more context. It's going to make Infinity War even more rich, right? Yeah. We're going to learn more about these characters. If their characters are going to be more fleshed out. So I think there's a lot more room for them to grow than what was just shown in the movies. But in terms of their powers, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I want to get your thoughts on this too, Ron, as far as WandaVision and the future TV show. But we talked about our favorite Avengers, guys, and there's a couple of you that are here that love Captain America. This is me, so we just have to appreciate this scene.
Let's go.
Beard as well. I mean, come on, guys.
I remember the theater going crazy when
they lost their mind when he popped on. Oh man.
And for those at home, we're 40 minutes.
My man over there. My man over here.
Yeah, this is some of the Avengers. We got Black Widow, Captain America, and Black Falcon saving the day, coming in to save their fellow Avengers. So I love this.
Name Black Falcon?
Did I say Black Falcon?
I thought he might have been called that in another comic or something.
There's an alternate universe when he's called Black Falcon. But no, Falcon. We can change his name now after Endgame. Now officially Captain America. But Black Falcon. He that was his stepbrother. They didn't get any screen time. So. But going back to Ron in regards to WandaVision and the relationship and just power levels, man. Again, what do you think about Wanda and Vision and the future of those characters?
I mean, I think the future is so bright because, again, like, as I said before, Scarlet Witch is to me one of the most powerful MCU heroes, and I've loved her growth. Like I love after we saw from Age of Ultron, after she lost a brother, as her brother passed, and then her just trying to find herself, and the one person she connected to the most was Vision. And then we saw in Civil War how they got even closer, and it was more like a little subtle. It wasn't like in your face about it. But, of course, diehard fans will know what the future holds for them, but we just see that tiny baby steps for them, and I liked it. I thought they had great chemistry, and I believed in them that that I could see it with that they could be together. And through this movie, what happened in Endgame, and then when you heard all the shows that were coming for Disney Plus, that was the one that hooked me the most. WandaVision, I really wanted to see, because that's something I always want with Scarlet Witch, of how is she dealing with everything that happened after Endgame? How is she coming to terms with everything? And if it's true what they said, that it's a sitcom, but it's in her world, and it just slowly crumbles down, that's going to be amazing. And how, in the end, how she would slowly come to terms with it. And I love that. I really do love that. And I think that her power level, man, look, it was over 9,000. What more can I say about that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. Wanda's, like I said, and like you all have said, she's one of the most powerful characters in MCU. And I think even Kevin Feige has said as much, so that, with the players left after Endgame, you have Captain Marvel, but right there is Scarlet Witch. And honestly, we'll be watching Endgame tomorrow, guys. But if it wasn't for Thanos calling on his goons, I think she would have took out Thanos one-on-one, right? So she's a very powerful character, and I'm excited to see what they have to offer for her character.
Thanos had to call up the
Call the
whole
homies.
squad
Yeah.
and the ship to take her out. That
Yeah.
tells you she's nothing to play around with.
So we got everyone's thought on it. Last two, Q and Chris, kind of you guys' final thoughts on Scarlet Witch and Vision. And are you guys excited for the new show? Are you excited to see her maybe become, I don't know if people are really talking about it, maybe she's going to be one of the villains in Doctor Strange 2 Into the Multiverse? Because as Ron was just saying, kind of the plot so far is kind of a sitcom-y type of show, and she has her she's lost her brother, she's lost her boyfriend, lover, whatever you want to call Vision, and now she's maybe going into the madness. So Q, what are you excited for when it comes to WandaVision in the future on the Disney Plus platform?
Oh yeah, from the WandaVision, it's a strange show. It's like is it I Love Lucy? Obviously they're playing. They're you know what I'm saying they're playing on our thoughts. Of course, it's going to be way deeper than that and darker than that, and I know it leads into Doctor Strange 2, I believe. So that should be cool. So you're going to have to watch it to see what's it's going to happen with these characters. And of course, Scarlet Witch is just one of the most powerful mutants ever. They kind of they allude to that a lot in the movies. What was the one where she like knocked the dude through 7 walls? Was it Civil War, I think? Or one of them.
Yeah, she did that to Vision. Yeah, that was in Civil War. Yeah.
Irony.
Yeah. Like she.
That's love right there.
Yeah, that's love.
Whole dysfunctional relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, and their chemistry works. Their chemistry works on screen. I was just I'm happy that they're going to explore that in Disney Plus, and that's one I'm really interested to see, because I think it's going to be a lot of interesting plots, and we don't even have an idea what's going to go down on that. So.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Well said, man. And Chris, just getting your thoughts on WandaVision, the show, but also just kind of, this is kind of leading to the next conversation. I would love to get David's thoughts after this, but Disney Plus, they're saying, Kevin Feige is saying that, and I think we're 12 years into this universe, and I think at this point they can't cater to people that haven't watched all the films. They have to, show love to the people that's been there since day one. So I want to get your thoughts on WandaVision, but also Disney Plus and the shows being so integral to the future movies. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I would like to see it happen, because it was kind of my hope with the Netflix little Marvel universe they had going on. I think that there was a lot of pitfalls and a lot to be learned from that Netflix universe. But I'm the TV nerd on my show, so I'm always down with that. I am a little skeptical of a sitcom. We'll see how that translates. But for the most part, like if it's done as well as these movies are, I'm all about less action and more characters. And if that's what a TV show is going to give me, I'm on board with that.
No, I agree, man. That's well said. And David, I would love to know, do you think, as in regards to the MCU, not relying on the Disney Plus shows, but just the idea of Kevin Feige and the big people over there that make all the calls, saying that these shows will tie into the movies, and it's getting to the point now where we're going to have to watch the shows, watch the movies, and it all intermingles with each other. So do you think that's a good thing, or will it neglect some of the audience? Like, I didn't see the show, so I don't know if I can see the film. What's your thoughts on that?
Definitely. But real quick, I wanted to acknowledge the Gamora backstory, which is probably one of the most beautiful and haunting, just backstories of him adopting her as his daughter, but also like a top mercenary, obviously. So, and then we got to that funny Drax scene. But anyways, so I think it's a smart decision, because with Disney Plus, obviously you get all the MCU movies on that platform now. So you're going to be kind of forced to watch. So all those clicks add up for them. I mean, it's just more streaming, more watching time for them. For the diehard fans, once again, I don't know about the WandaVision thing. I mean, from what I've read, from what I've seen, it's just it's a kind of 50-50 for me, because I don't really know what to expect. Right. But I hope they hold true just to the subject material, just for the diehard fans, obviously, that are in like their 20s, 30s, and people that grew up with them. And I hope they appease to obviously those that are like under 10 years old, that are barely getting into the MCU. You know what I mean? Right. So it's going to be a very, very hard balance, because I think the MCU's target demographic is those of the PG-13 audience. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you got to keep it clean cut. And especially with Disney Plus, I feel like they're going to go a little more cleaner. That's the unfortunate thing I see from Disney Plus, which is going to make a lot of fans hesitant of just divulging, just going deeper into these series, I guess. It's very hard, as a lot of people know. I don't watch too many series like you, Elliot, but it takes a lot to get me digesting a whole series, I guess.
Right.
Binge
Totally.
watching.
Totally.
So,
I hear you, and I know,
Yeah.
and I'd love to get your thoughts, Brandon, because I know as well, kind of like David. I know you love the movies, but shows aren't really, I know you watch shows, but it's not like top priority. So I just want to know from your perspective, and I love what David said there. But for someone that doesn't watch as much TV as someone like myself or some other people in chat, do you fear that you're going to be kind of having FOMO in regards to, I didn't see that show? How do I, what's your thoughts on the future of TV and I mean, this future of TV and movies within the MCU?
Well, it's kind of like Star Wars too, where, I've had this conversation. I'm sure you guys have gotten comments, in your guys' channels or on Instagram or whatever, and it's like, well, if you were a clear Star Wars fan, if you'd watched this show episode, this and this and this, and got this comic strip and this and this and this, it clearly states on page 4, you had to have seen that until you see the movie, where it's like, we don't want to do homework before we go to a movie. It's like, oh crap, hold on a second, did I read all this crap? Oh crap, I missed one episode. Sorry, guys, can't go with you to the theater, to see this movie. So I think that all the TV, all the Disney Plus, they're great extras for people who love the movies, but I think they should service the movies, because no one wants to go into a movie and go, oh, well, crap, I need to see 4 seasons of a TV show and read 2 comic series before I go in. You know what? I'll watch Cats. So, and that's why I think Infinity War is so great, because I showed this to my grandmother, who's never seen a single Marvel movie, and she's just like, wow, I was seeing all these actors in it, and it's like Josh Brolin's in it, Robert Downey Jr.'s in it, and I gave her a cheat sheet of all the Infinity Stones, and afterwards she's like, wow, that movie was amazing, and I think that's the power of Marvel, right? Yeah. If they can get a great movie like this that can bring in people who have never seen a single Marvel movie, yeah, sure, we've seen them all, and we're able to really understand, more of the character motivations and the backstories. But even for a newcomer, it's easy for them to get into a movie like this and be drawn into the emotion. We understand Thanos is the bad guy, and we understand, okay, Gamora is his daughter, or stepdaughter or adopted daughter.
Yeah.
So it's if with TV, if we need to see every single series to get the basic understanding of a movie, then I think that's going to implode. But if it's just an added bonus, like The Mandalorian, oh, I like Star Wars, I'm going to check out this show, The Mandalorian. Okay, that's great. And you don't have to see the movies, vice versa. You know what I mean?
No, it's well said, man. I think, and David brought it up, the whole balancing act that they're going to have to kind of handle. But I think, and you guys have said it as well, as much so that it's, if you've been a comic book reader, not everyone has read every single comic, but you should be able to pop in every now and then and kind of catch up with the storylines. And I think that's what Kevin Feige and Disney Plus is going to offer to the fans it's going to be like this ice on the cake. If you've been there since day one and you watch every movie and every show, you're going to notice those little Easter eggs, oh, that was brought up in Falcon and Winter Soldier, or who's that character? And then also it's a smart, at the end of the day, it's a business, right? So it's smart on their end, because they're going to make people say, oh, I don't know who that character is, but I heard that they're in WandaVision, so let me go check out Disney Plus. I think it's smart. I think at this point we can all trust Kevin Feige and the people at Marvel that they are going to do, the best with the IPs, and I'm really looking forward to see how they do it. But I'm going to be
welcoming, right?
Yeah, I'm going to watch every show. I'm going to watch every movie. It's exciting, but I'm very fascinated to see how they handle it. So
yeah. It's still welcoming to newcomers, not oh, you haven't watched all these movies? Sorry. It's only Marvel members allowed, right? They're like, oh, you've never seen a movie? All right, well, come on in. You might be a little lost, but we'll still try to, include you, and we'll give you a great movie.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've been to a lot of these movies with just friends who kind of haven't seen the past 4, and they just come to have a night out with the squad, and they do a great job of having a strong through line, where even if you're not an avid going to every single movie, it's there and it's present. So I think to kind of what both David and Brandon were saying, as long as the through line is as strong as it has been, the TV shows I don't think will fall victim to sort of ruining this and causing them to do a hard restart. At least I hope that, because for all that I dislike, I'm enjoying these characters, like I keep saying,
Definitely. And it just kind of a little refresher for everyone at home or just watching the replay. We're 53 minutes and 16 seconds into the film. We're watching Star-Lord and Gamora have a little emotional scene here. And yeah, this is a big moment. I love what he says to Thanos, the big nut sack of the chin. I love that
You should have gone right. That is such a great moment.
Yes,
Such a great line.
So excited to see what they have for the Guardians moving forward. But interesting question here that we got from Connor. And also, guys, I appreciate all the comments that's been in the chat. I've realized a lot of people saying they're subscribing to everyone on this live stream. So we appreciate the support. Thank you guys so much. And we really appreciate it. So Connor has a really good question, and kind of in the same vein that we were just talking about the TV shows, but he says, what's your opinion on Disney Plus shows being delayed? Will it be a big deal since they service has so little original content? So Ron, I want you to kind of get your thoughts on this in regards to, these shows being delayed and Disney Plus as a platform not having a lot of original content. What's your thoughts on Disney Plus as a whole? Have you been a fan of it? And do you think these shows being delayed is going to be an issue?
Well, of course, for me, I ain't afraid to say it, I'm a mark for Disney. Okay. Mm-hmm. Since Lion King caught my heart, I've been on it since the get-go. Mm-hmm. And when they said they got Disney Plus, of course I was gonna get it, but I did hear the rumbles because that the talk of like, oh, Netflix is gonna die because Disney Plus coming, which come on. Netflix still gets original stuff going from movies and shows. So they still got buttloads of things coming on. Right. But that was gonna be the problem with Disney. Like what are you gonna do after the nostalgia dies? Like, and after you get off that high, you still need to watch new things, new movies, new shows, and that would be the stumbling block for them. Mm-hmm. And with this, what's been going on, and the delays on shooting and shows getting get pushed back for a year, maybe a little bit longer because they're not even done filming and editing and some of this stuff. Right. That's a question, but a lot of things you can spin and put a negative to a positive. Mm-hmm. How you can now just say, hey, look, now that we have more time to put those things up, and by the time we get it out, we're going to have a truckload of things coming out for everyone that might bring new people in for them. So I think that can help Disney. And I hope also, too, they will also start to think of more ideas because, like, there's so many things that they can bring back. Like, I'm a mark for Disney that they canceled Lizzie McGuire. They're going to do a reboot for Lizzie McGuire's show. Yeah. And because it's going to get a little bit too edgy, I guess PG-13, whatever. Yeah. But that's something, again, I feel that they should not have done. Like, those are things that you should do. You got fans who are with this since the get-go, and they want to come back, and they want to watch these old shows be rebooted. People love reboots and remakes. Right there. Go ahead and do it. That's the end goal. So I hope that Disney will think more about, let's go back to the trunk and just pick back some things and revive them and give a new spin on it. So that's how you bring people in.
No, I agree. Well said, man. And Q, I would love to get your thoughts on, in regards to these delays, as Ron was just saying, is it one of those things where even though shows might get delayed, once everything kind of clears up with COVID-19, they're going to have so much content ready for these people, to consume. And in regards to just kind of where they're at now with nostalgia and things, I think, Artemis Fowl being on the platform June 12th, we're going to start to see probably some movies that maybe a New Mutants, eventually gets a release date on the platform. So what is your thoughts on where Disney Plus kind of stands as a platform? The Mandalorian's a big hit. They have a couple movies that have been pretty well received. What's your thoughts on Disney Plus and not having original shows maybe this year outside of Mandalorian season 2 is going to hurt the platform?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt the platform. I think they're just getting started. They are just getting started. They own Star Wars. They own Marvel, and they own a lot of Fox properties now. They can play whenever they want. They just, I think they're taking their time, especially coming up with the right stories because what the Obi-Wan thing that happened. They had to get those writers out here, get the correct writers in to make sure, because they want the platform to strive. And, no one's going to subscribe to them if they got bad shows. So I think you're just getting their content right. You got a ton of Marvel stuff that's already in the bucket that's, it's going to be delayed, of course, because of COVID-19. But I think they're just going to start. Mandalorian is already, season 3 is in development,
It's crazy.
Yeah. And 2's not because they know, everybody's gonna watch Mandalorian season 2. As soon as that thing pop on, boom, we're just watching it every week. I mean, I was watching my favorite thing to watch on Disney Plus was, of course, Mandalorian #1, and then I like the Jeff Goldblum show. So,
No, that was really good. Yeah,
I agree with you on that one.
Jeff Goldblum for sure.
Yeah. Netflix got everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got a lot of other stuff, but Disney has the exclusivity. You know, that's what you go there for Mandalorian, for the Marvel show. So that's why I keep it. It's not that much. It's not that hard on the pocket. So
yeah, $6.99 is not a bad deal at all. And Chris, I would love to get your thoughts on this too, in regards to, if we remember, it's been so long ago. Netflix is definitely one of my favorite platforms, and we got Wakanda here now. We'll talk about T'Challa in a little bit, but if people remember right, Netflix, it took a while between original shows to hit the platform. They got House of Cards, and we eventually got Orange and New Black, and obviously Stranger Things. So it took a couple years to get those original content on the platform. But Chris, I just want to get your thoughts on Disney Plus, the delay of those other shows, and just kind of the future of the platform.
Yeah, so basically, in regards to the future of the platform, I think the more competitors in any field, the better, especially like a creative space, because then you're just gonna, you're gonna have to compete. Like Netflix did the craziest show I saw. Thomas Middleditch has this like show that just came out where it's like them just doing 50-minute improvised sketches. Him and I forget the other big comedian. And I don't think you would have someone giving that show a budget if it wasn't for all these new competitors in the space. And so someone might see that very niche show, but find so much enjoyment out of that, because it's a weird type of art, but it's a high quality type of art. And so for me, I'm on board with just the expansion into the space. And as far as Disney Plus specifically, I do think they came onto the scene a little too prematurely. I think when that thing launched, they were really hoping that like Mandalorian would push it, and it did. But then after Mandalorian died, I know so many of my friends who just canceled their subscription, and now we're picking it back up again on quarantine. So, I think that's a right way to do it. But I'm curious to see, like, it seems like David's always posting like on his Instagram feed, like about the budget and the behind the scenes stuff. So like, what do you think about all this, man? Like, are you on board with like more people in the space, or what do you think about all that?
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to what Q said. This is just the tip of the iceberg for Disney. They are not hurting. They are never going to hurt. Even with Disneyland, Disney World shut down, they're just making so much boatloads of money. They're going to just recoup that when everything gets back to normal. Going back to that whole question about the delays, though, that Connor asked is, what they already kind of pulled us in with Mandalorian. Mandalorian was kind of like Netflix's Tiger King, right? So I mean, if they keep those going, they're going to have people in the pocket. That's just what it's going to be. And I think they have the budget. I think they have the great writers. Now is the perfect time, as you guys. I don't know if you guys follow Kevin Smith. He just finished the sequel to Mallrats. So he's utilizing this COVID-19 quarantine time to get those scripts tight. And that's exactly what these Disney, anybody that's attached to Disney or MCU, they need to get their scripts tight, polish them up as much as they can, because when this thing's a go, when we're back to quote unquote normal, even though they say everything's going to change from here on out, I think they're just going to go out, film a bunch of shit, and then just continue as normal. But I think that whole thing with the Disney Plus pricing, I knew that was never going to stay. I think they're going to go up just gradually like Netflix did. So that was just kind of like the baseline price to get as many subscribers as they could.
They ease you into that. Like, what is Netflix up to now? That $10.99 or something?
Oh,
Netflix?
dude, I think they've got like about 3 or 4 plans. If you, for example, if you want if you want 4K content, it's like $16, $15-16.
That's an American
I'm on that family plan, so I guess I really am blessed. Then I had no idea about that. That's crazy.
Hey man,
right,
as long as they keep Ozarks coming, I'm gonna keep watching.
Oh yeah,
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
4K too.
No, and I think Chris said it great. With more competition comes great content. It's the best creators are going to take that. It's not necessarily like we're going to be better than them, but it's just like stepping your game up. So again, I think the future of Disney Plus is going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Again, I think we're going to not only Artemis Fowl going to be on a platform in June, which I think was a smart plan, because I don't think that movie was going to do well at all at the box office. But again, I think you might get an announcement that New Mutants might hit the platform. They have X-Men, they have Fantastic Four.
Poor New Mutants, right?
Oh man,
damn.
That poor thing that getting beat down left and right each time. Like,
yeah, I feel bad. And when that film comes out, I mean, we'll see what comes of it. But I'm looking forward to it. But so we got a scene here again, just to let everyone know where we're at the film. We got Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man on the ship. We're 1 hour and 2 minutes into the film, and this is a great moment where we're getting again Iron Man and Doctor Strange coming at odds, you know, in regards to the plan. And I would love to know your thoughts on this, Brandon, in regards to Doctor Strange. Do you feel like it was the best idea to take Tony's advice to go to Titan with just 3 of them, or do you think they should have just went back to Earth?
Well, I'll answer that quickly before I talk on Connor's point. Well, like Doctor Strange said, there's only one way to win, right? Yeah. So it was inevitable. It was written in fate that they had to go there. But in terms of, Disney Plus shows, getting pushed back, and, I get people talking about like things like this, like, oh man, it's so stupid how Spider-Verse is getting delayed. It's so long ago. It's like, it's so long in the future. Like, this whole thing will be over by then. They still have to make the movie, guys. Yeah, and a lot of the film productions are like, and I know firsthand, I work for a film studio and I'm working from home right now and nothing's being filmed. Yeah. But the good news is that my company, we're talking with all the screenwriters down in Hollywood. What are they doing in quarantine? Yeah. They're screenwriting. We have a boatload of movies that want to shoot with us. We have a boatload of TV shows. So when I get back to work, it's going to be quite a lot of work to do. So we're going to have a ton more content. And speaking about the Disney parks, what's funny is I was actually supposed to be coming back from Disneyland today. Right.
Yeah, I remember you saying that in one of your lives. Yeah, that's unfortunate, man.
Yeah, so I had the trip booked in about January, and then obviously during the COVID-19 thing, we had to cancel the trip. Postpone, because Disney does not give refunds. Wink. Yeah. I still have the tickets, but they're postponed. So I'm going back eventually. But in terms of Disney Plus, it might be a bit of a lull for new content to come out just because no one is filming right now. But trust me when I say that screenwriters at home are writing so much content, and because we our company talks with LA and New York and Atlanta and all these different big film hubs in terms of where they're shooting, and there's going to be a ton of original content, tons of remakes and reboots, and a ton of scripts are being written right now. So there might be a bit of a lull in content, but trust me when I say it's coming. There's going to be a lot of content coming.
My expectations are high. I hope that they live up to expectations. Like all my musician friends right now, we're all just writing our songs, honing our craft. So we better be getting some heat when this is all said and done, or else I'm going to be very disappointed,
Yeah.
Get your worth, man. I know it. Don't kill it up there.
Definitely.
I do agree with what Scott's saying, but I also think that competition in the space will create, more avenues for abstract creativity and also stronger creative efforts as well.
Yeah. You got to stand out somehow.
It's a double-edged sword, though, because it could fail at the same time. So we'll have to wait and see. To me, it's one of those wait and see type things.
Definitely. And I guess just kind of a side note too, and then we'll get back to, so again, we're an hour and 6 minutes into the film, but just speaking a little bit about quarantine, starting with, with Ron, and we'll go around the table. How have you been holding up, man? And kind of what's been your thing that you've been, watching a lot of movies, TV, writing, working. How's the quarantine life treating you, Ron?
And man, look, taking it one day at a time. I'm blessed to have my family with me, keeping everyone and I know and love around. I've been like all you guys been saying, I've just been holding my craft. This time has been giving me enough to learn how to work better on broadcasting, on editing and my voice, polish on my resume, learn to be a better writer. And also just, more interact with people, learn to get out my shell and, get to the space of just put myself out there to meet people, talk with people like with you guys, and I'm happy because I fully enjoy talking to all y'all. Y'all good people, and likewise. And it's one of those things, look, life threw us the left hook. It's hard. It's hard for every single person out there. Yeah. And the only thing we can do is make the best of the situation that we have. So I can't promise that how the world will be when it's all said and done, but I do know is that God be my witness that I work my best to show everybody that I'll be there and be prepared. So and with movies it shows. I've been watching a lot of I'm a animated fan, so I watch a lot of animation stuff. Rewatching I rewatched Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. And dang it, still love Avatar and still had, a little problem with Legend of Korra, but I still liked it. And I actually read comics. I'm not a comic fan, but I actually read those stories and they were good.
Nice.
So I appreciate this time I have. Of course, I want it all to end. We all want this to end, but but I made the best out of what this situation has, and I'm blessed just to be here. That's it, man.
Well said, man. And look, Q, and then Chris and David and Brandon. Q, how you been holding up, man? How you and your family doing, and what's been keeping you busy, man?
Yeah, up here, in Michigan. So we just got locked down for another to like at least May 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's even crazy to say that, like locked down, like prison or something. But
Locked up.
Yeah, locked up. So but overall, man, I'm just really I'm a CG artist for a profession. So I get to work at home. So I'm so happy that I'm able to feed my family in these trying times. So I'm just so very blessed to be able to do that and make sure everyone's taken care of. And being in the house this long, I kind of miss going outside.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's a big transition. Yeah.
Dave got his stuff crispy. I don't know how you keep your stuff so crispy. Your beard. I don't know. I look crazy.
Yeah, man, I'm jealous.
I miss the barbers, and of course I miss the movie theater. Oh, I miss the popcorn.
Yeah,
man. Man.
That's only starting to hit me now, where it's like, I could have seen No Time to Die already.
Yeah,
man.
I had Quiet Place screener early. I was going that night. Shut down.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Crazy. Yeah. I was like, and I was really excited to see that. But overall, I'm catching up all these Blu-rays that I have because sometimes I buy them and I don't watch them. I want to sometimes, but like I got so many. I forgot I had what was the Nicolas Cage movie, Color of Space?
Yeah, I watched that last week.
Nuts. Yeah, it's nuts. But but I'm just happy to be here, man. And my family's healthy, and that's all I can ask for.
Yeah. Same thing, Chris. How you been holding up, man? What's been keeping you busy during these times?
Yeah, I've been good, and I'm glad to hear you guys are all doing well, especially like with your families and stuff. My grandparents live with us, so I've been limiting my outdoor interactions. Only just going to run the errands, bare essentials. For me, I've been like teaching myself how to do music production for about like a year now, because paying for recordings all the time is the worst. And so I've had a lot of time to just dive in. So every time I get cabin fever, I'm either like working on a podcast or creating content. Obviously, it's still getting to me, but I'm trying my best to like focus up. And also, I'm getting into stand-up comedy. I've never had time to like sort of watch all these Netflix specials people freak out about, and that's been a lot of fun for me, So I can't complain, but I obviously want the world to just like figure this out and get better as soon as we can, because I miss going out and just being a part of the public,
Yeah, man. Yeah, and David. Same for you, my friend. You and Callie right now. How are you and the girlfriend, the missus, doing during these times?
Oh yeah, we're doing good, man. She's staying at home actually. I'm part of the essential crew, so I do work in a warehouse close by. So I still got my 9-to-5 grind. And when I come out, it's just back in the house. I don't know if you guys heard, California a couple days ago. Well, actually, just yesterday they opened up beaches, but I don't know what they. I don't know what they plan to work out with that. Because no one is keeping their distance. It's like a big joke to most people. So I don't know if you guys have. I don't know if you guys have heard. There's a lot of protesting going on. Just people trying to open businesses back up. Either way, that's not gonna get the businesses open, right? So once again, like Hugh said, we are getting pushed back till May 15th. We just found out, and I think that's just gonna keep going back 2 more weeks after that. But hey, if I was inside the house, I'd be recording as many videos as you are, Elliot. I'll tell you that. I would tell you that. But I would definitely be watching probably a lot more. And I, every night I try to watch something new. I try to give something new a chance. It just takes a lot to kind of suck me in. Especially the TV, the different shows that they got on Netflix or Hulu or whatever.
Definitely. And the same thing for you, my friend, Brandon, my friend, north of the border, man. How things out there in Canada, and how you been holding up?
We're doing pretty well. Like, I mean, again, I don't know how it really is in the US, right? All I know is through CNN or through all that stuff. But, we're actually doing pretty well up here in Canada. Like at least in BC, the death rate is extremely low. And the cases are extremely low. Most people are taking it seriously. I live out in the suburbs of Vancouver. But even I drove downtown today and there's still bikers cutting people off. That's one thing you'll realize when you go to Vancouver. There's bikers everywhere. But So like I work for a film studio, and obviously no one's filming right now, so we're all working from home, but no one's filming. So like my job is based on my email inbox, and it's been empty. So obviously, still going through meetings and things like that, but it's given me a big like chance to work on the YouTube channel, right? Like, so that's become like my 9-to-5 job. And I was actually looking. So I release videos every Wednesday and Sunday, and I have videos already slated to come out, already edited and all done until May 19th. That's awesome. I could take a month off if I really wanted to. Right. But just I've been keeping myself busy with that, which has been great. And obviously, like the films like on my to watch list, like I've been watching movies like a ton of them that I've never seen before, right? So it's a great time to do that. But then also trying to keep spirits high, because I think of it like this: if I worry and if I constantly stress and constantly watch the news and constantly look at the death rates and everything, who's going to suffer? I am, because I'm going to play mental tennis. Like, oh God, like what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? It's really been suffering for like, I would be the one who's suffering. So also in terms of, keeping myself busy with doing YouTube as well, I've also been like reading a lot about spirituality and meditation and, raising your vibration and doing all that stuff to, I think that's a perfect opportunity to kind of like, go inwards, right? I felt like I've already been evolving as a person. Right. And I don't want to turn into a hippie on you guys. Right. And
go for it.
But it's, so I've been reading all about that, like, going deeper into spirituality. And I feel like that has kind of shifted my mentality about life and about movies and about YouTube and about everything. Right. My relationships with my family and friends and things like that. So keeping spirits high. And then, of course, if you need to take a break, I'm playing guitar. We got a fire pit back in our backyard. I'm taking the dogs for long, long walks. Yeah. Right. So keeping exercise, working out a lot. I went back to my workout program. So I've been doing that. And so it's been good. It's, a couple of my friends have really been struggling with this because their mental health and their, their anxiety is crazy, but I'm pretty grateful and thankful that, my anxiety hasn't really hit me. But of course, a couple of days go by, you're like, oh man, I want to go to theater. Man, I want to go to a bar. I want to party. I want to go to a beach. I want to go do this. I want to travel. So, as soon as this opens up, I want to try to do something like completely crazy. I was thinking like, why don't I just go skydiving first day? Right. Just go for it, right? Like, it's like reading about the books. You're like reading about how fear is like fakeness externalized appearing real. Right. So just go for it. Go skydiving, go scuba diving, go learn how to ride a horse, learn to make this, make a YouTube channel.
There you go.
I really do like that.
It's the spiritual journey has begun with me, guys.
That's fantastic, man. I think there's always a silver lining in these situations that we all deal with. So you guys said some great things, and I hope, like I said, you guys have said, I hope you guys in the chat took in some good advice from these wonderful conversations that we're having. So just kind of follow back up to the movie, where we're at 116 in regards to we're seeing Thor and, on Villain of an Air or whatever they call it on the planet, talking to, Dinklage character. And something that we can kind of talk about here. And Connor has a good question I want to bring in. But in regards to, again, going back to Thor's storyline, he has that great conversation with Rocket, which I thought was one of the best moments. Again, like Chris mentioned earlier, one of my best scenes in Ultron is just the heroes sitting down and talking. And as we're talking now, Thor talks about losing his mom, his brother, and his dad, and everything. I just love that conversation, and just hope that we get more as Guardians of the Galaxy, which I think Taika Waititi might have said in his Instagram live a couple weeks ago that the Guardians will make some type of appearance, and I hope it's Rocket and Groot having more of that relationship being dived into. But Connor has a good question here regarding: do you think the situation will go? Let me bring it back up again. Situation would be good enough for Black Widow to come out November. So again, just round table style, starting with Brandon. November, we're looking at 6 months away. Black Widow, the first film in the Phase 4. Will we be seeing it in November, man? What's your thoughts?
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
I think like David was talking about all the protests happening in are you in LA?
I'm about 30 minutes from LA.
Gotcha. Yeah, right. So I'm 30 minutes from Vancouver, right? So I always kind of can side with the West Coast, Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, LA, San Fran, all that stuff. So there was protests going on here too. And it's like, I think if everyone really does follow the CDC and the World Health Organization and everyone does their part to fight this together, the sooner this can be over, the sooner we can go see Black Widow, the sooner we can see No Time to Die, the sooner we can see Top Gun Maverick, all these things. I hope so. I'm staying hopeful, right?
Yeah.
I try not to think about it too much, just because, like, what's that going to do? Like, you're not, by worrying about it, who's going to suffer? You are, right?
Right.
So I hope so.
Yeah, I think we can all agree to that. And Ron, just regarding, if we do get Black Widow, which again, like, Brandon was saying, I hope that we get to see it. But honestly, the fact of the matter is, and this is just my opinion, I don't know what you guys think about it, but I think a lot of any film that's coming out the rest of this year, whether it be Black Widow, Wonder Woman 84, Dune, Tenet, these films aren't going to make the same amount of money that they would have made if it was, if we weren't going through these times. So what do you think, Ron, in regards to, should these films take the L and still come out, or should these films that we're anticipating, No Time to Die, Black Widow, Tenet, Dune, should they just push it back to 2021, man? What's your thoughts?
Ooh, that's hard. Because, I mean, look, at the end of the day, what's the most important thing to the big wigs?
It's
The
the
big
money.
dollar.
Yeah.
Dollar. Y'all know it, Brian, right there. All y'all know it. And personally, on a personal level, just like for me, I say, take the L. Either take the big risk and say we're gonna put it on a stream and you guys just have to pay for it, or push it till 2021. Because, man, like, granted, look, November pops on and they open the floodgates for everybody to come out and say, you go back to movies. Yeah, I think a lot of people would go and see these movies because that's their first build up anticipation to go back and experience theater again.
Right.
That's what once again, to experience life again. So it's the risk and reward of the risk of the reward of, man, everyone's going to come to in November. November is going to be the big month where every movie's coming out.
Right.
But the risk, people can still get sick. People can still get, you might not show up a lot because they're scared.
Yeah.
So that's the question you have to ask yourselves. But to answer your question, I think they should push it back.
Yeah, and I would love to get your thoughts on it too, Q, because again, just thinking of
well said,
first
dude.
film, and well said, Ron. Well, first film in Phase 4 is Black Widow. A lot of people like myself think that she should have got a film in Phase 2, but we're here now, and we'll see how Florence Pugh and all those characters are going to be maybe in the future of the MCU. But just your thoughts, Q, in regards to should we get the Black Widow film in November and potentially, maybe I'm just throwing it out there, half of the profits. Let's say, just hypothetically, if this film would have came out when it was slated to come out, which was it May 1st, I believe?
Yeah, I think it was May. Yeah,
I think the film easily makes over 700 million easily, just because of the anticipation. Black Widow, again, Florence Pugh is one of the most up and coming actresses in Hollywood. The anticipation for the first film in the MCU, but now that with everything with COVID-19, what does the film do in November? So, what's your thoughts about keeping that date and maybe pushing it back?
Yeah, it's very tricky. Of course, us fans of film, we'll be there still the very first day because we just really care about properties like that. But you got to think about people who are not fans like that, diehard fans, and they're going to be very hesitant to sit next to someone in the theater. I think, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be very funny without like a mask and gloves. I mean, when I'm going, I'm gonna be nervous too if I go down and see Black Widow. Or Wonder Woman in August, I'm gonna be kind of really in the back of my mind. I think somebody cough in here or somebody do something crazy. I'll have to, I might have to leave, but I want to enjoy the movie. It takes away from my enjoyment of the film a little bit. You know what I'm saying? When I'm thinking in the back of my head that, I can get sick. So
you're not watching the movie. You're thinking about everyone else in the theater. You can't really escape.
Just not to size track it, but I mean, just thinking of the Joker. I know the hype and media around the Joker and violence and people going to the theater. That was on some people's mind, and security being around. But it made $1 billion. So continue.
Yeah. But I think we do have to eventually open the theaters back up, and I think the smartest move would be to push all of these films to 2021. Tenet, Wonder Woman, 84, Black Widow. If it's even in January or December, put all the blockbusters in January. When they used to go to die. But to be safe, for like the country to feel safe, I think you might have to push these big, because this gatherings, it's gatherings of people every hour on the hour for Wonder Woman 84. People are going to be packed in there, and that could caused high spikes in this COVID-19 thing, and we're back to where we were or maybe worse. So I say push it back if I had to say.
It's tricky, Chris. I would love to get your thoughts, man, on I don't know, any ideas on. I know we all love theaters, and I would never want to have the theatrical experience taken away from us. But just kind of thinking, if you were executive, Chris, and you had the opportunity, you're Disney, and you say Black Widow, we're scheduled for November 6th, but do we still put it in theaters? Do we go to Disney Plus? Do we offer for $24.99? 24-hour watching period? What's your thoughts, Chris? If you were the CEO, if you were, you're Bob Iger being brought back from quote unquote retirement, and you have this on your desk Monday morning, what's your decision?
My decision is waited out a little bit longer because like Q was saying, like now they're pushed back to the 15th. At first it was the 1st, now it's the 15th. Then who knows if it turns into the 31st.
We never
wait it
know.
out a little bit longer. But if you start to, I think all these guys notice trends, right? So if you start to notice a trend that we keep pushing it back, it's got to go to streaming, I think. But because like at least in my small scope, like in New York and like we're in the epicenter, we have Cuomo coming on every day. People keep going out, man. People keep hanging out, and people keep seeing their significant others and going to play like sports at the park and going on hikes together. And we can't have that. So I think, like you said, David, with them opening up the beaches, to me, that's a little ridiculous. You shouldn't even open it. And you need to take charge for the masses, I think, and not to get too political, but to me, it doesn't seem like if that stuff's irresponsible to me. So to put it lightly, I don't think we're going to earn the right to go to the theaters if we keep acting this way. So I think it's going to have to come out
to that.
on streaming, but who knows, right?
Mayor and Jaws opened up the beaches too.
Yeah.
Who's that?
The Mayor and Jaws opened up the beaches too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we know how that played out. David. Go ahead, Chris. Yeah.
I just feel bad for all the freelancers and all the creators out there because it's just making it harder for the people who don't have like a salary through these hard times,
Yeah.
That's really it.
And again, David, I would love to know your thoughts on, Black Widow being dropped in November, pushing it back. But again, just kind of, the executives, they love numbers. They love concrete dates. So a lot of this might be lip service. Hell, November. And Christopher Nolan, I love him. He's one of my favorite directors. But they came out the other day and saying that Tenet's gonna be ready to go, July 17th. But what's your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah. So before I answer that, I was just reading an article I have queued up right here on my phone. It's from MovieWeb. There's an Oklahoma movie theater that plans to reopen in May with mask and plexiglass. So imagine walking into a theater with plexiglass in between people. Like, talk about the fear, like putting the fear in people's, like, how are you going to focus on these movies, let alone to talk about them afterwards or review them? Like, our minds are not going to be 100% invested. Now, going to what I believe Ron said, take the L, have them, come out next year. That's fine. Because I believe with so much fear going on, if Black Widow comes out in November, even it being the Christmas season, it's not going to make anything, dude. It's not going to do that. So, but do I believe, release it to a streaming? Hell no. But this goes back to something I posted a couple weeks ago about Trolls World Tour. That one did 50 mil the opening weekend on VOD alone. And people were chiming in saying, this will work with certain movies. Now, of course, all the family-friendly movies, like I think My Spy just got bought by Amazon. So that's been a movie that's been like in the limbo for a while. So I think they should definitely release that like on a Hulu, Amazon, or you should get like these properties that will appeal to the families that are at home. Or even like, I don't know. It's very hard to say because I don't know the numbers on like Bloodshot and like when they were releasing it. Like, I don't know, when they were releasing it to the home and stuff like that. But I would love to get back to the theater, but I just want to make sure it's safe. And of course, business wise, it doesn't make sense to rush things when you're going to lose money.
Well, David, because I'm in New York and you're in Cali, so I feel like we're both a little more at risk than maybe some of the other guys in here. Not to say that everyone isn't at risk with all the, I think, immature behavior, but like me personally, I may wait one more month once we get back there because I don't know if I trust people in my area, to like be responsible and like because it's not going to just go away even when we can go back in public. Like, what do you think about that being in like another hotspot?
No, and I think I was talking to this to you about this in DM a couple of days ago. Is that I have a brother in New York, in Queens, and he's saying things are terrible right now. Things are terrible, and he just came off of being sick for 19 days. He didn't, fortunately he did not get it, but he thought he got it. And he contacted his work. His work said, "Stay your ass at home until you get better. Do not come back. You'll have a job when you come back, but do not come back." Everybody's just being very, very cautious. So once they say things are normaling out, you're still going to get a majority of people, I think, with that fear in the back of their head that are still going to be quarantining.
Yeah,
at least for a while.
Brother's okay too, dude. I really am. That's scary.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you.
I think you guys hit the nail on the head, and I appreciate you guys giving your input on that, and that was really well said. So just again, this little where we're at for all those at home. 1 hour.
And this is a big scene right here. This is a big scene right here.
This is Thanos makes a decision.
Just the subversion of expectations.
Yeah.
I sound like Ryan.
I love seeing that Red Skull was able to make an appearance, even though it wasn't, the same actor, but I love this moment here.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Show you how much Thanos wanted this. Like what he was willing to get these stones, no matter what.
Yeah.
One line that I remember from screenwriting class in film school, he said, the best villains genuinely think that they're the good guy.
Right.
Right. And he thinks Thanos, this is his heroic moment. Like he has to sacrifice his daughter, but he will save the day. He will be the hero.
Yeah.
Right. So
you're right.
More that the villains are so like their conviction of they are the good guy. How can anyone see the Avengers as these heroes, right? I am the one who is willing to do the ultimate sacrifice to save humanity, save the universe. He genuinely thinks he's the good guy, which makes him a wonderful, wonderful villain.
And well said, man. I couldn't agree with that more. And I think to Connor's, again, Connor with the hot questions. I appreciate it, man. Do you think any of the other MCU films will reach the heights of Infinity War and Endgame? And we'll go ahead and, again, round table style, starting off with Brandon. I think we talked about it a little bit up top, but we can get more in depth now. I mean, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange 2. What else do we have on the slate? Spider-Man 3. Captain Marvel 2, Black Panther 2. I mean, this is starting from scratch for some characters. We're getting sequels to other characters. But Brandon, what do you think in regards to? Obviously, it's hard to say what these films are going to do financially, but the lead up to Infinity War and Endgame, are we going to get that feeling again?
Yeah, well, we'll never know, right? Because none of us have a crystal ball. The only one I could imagine doing, or out of that list, the film that I can see doing the best is Black Panther 2, just because of the cultural phenomenon around the first one. It was nominated for Best Picture, all that stuff. But in terms of any other film reaching the heights of Infinity War and Endgame, I really don't think so. Because, of course, we're all comic nerds. We all love these kind of movies. Like, of course, Disney has our money, right? They have your money. They have my money for sure. But, just for an avid fan, they're like, oh, Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, Spider-Man 3. Whereas like my parents are like, Endgame, like it's an event. When the event kind of becomes bigger than the film itself, like you have to go, right? It's like, it's kind of like the Star Wars films, right? Like there's the Star Wars fans and there's the people that are like, oh, it's a Star Wars movie. We guess we got to go to that. It has become bigger than the film itself. So unless there's some big, huge cultural phenomenon around a certain movie, then I don't think we're going to see a film quite like Infinity War and Endgame in terms of box office results for a long time.
No, I agree. And the same question for you, Ron. And I have the list here too. So, we got Black Widow, we got Eternals, Shang-Chi, Thor. I forgot to mention Thor, Love and Thunder, with Christian Bale as the villain and Natalie Portman returning, Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, and Captain Marvel 2. So obviously, like I said, I think this is kind of a phase one type of approach where we're getting solo films with Black Widow and, the Eternals being kind of the Guardians. No one doesn't really know that much about them. I'm really interested to see what they have to do. But what do you think about Connor's question in regards to this lead up? Are we going to lead up to an Avengers 5? This excitement level, X-Men, Fantastic Four, and so on.
I mean, again, I think it's for Black Panther, because I think it's a perfect example, because in my family, only my sister and I will go see these movies. When Black Panther dropped, my father wanted to see it, and he does not like superhero movies at all. But he said, "Ron, I want to see that Black Panther. That looks kind of interesting." And then I'm like, "Oh, really? Yeah, let's go." And he watched it and he liked it. And that's the phenomenon of the movie, that people that normally don't watch this kind of movie will come and see it. And just like take these tentpole movies, like all these Avengers, they're event movies. So,
Right.
But for all these that are coming up, a few of them are going to be those ones that are the next arc for some characters. Maybe we'll see development from other characters that might get them fleshed out or make more people want to be invested in them. But I don't think for the level of Infinity War and Endgame, we won't see anything like this until like an event of maybe like Avengers versus X-Men,
Right.
like those kind of things of that. Because I've always been told by my friends like would be a humongous thing, because again, it's something that we never thought we would see, and I think that's something that would bring everyone and their mama to come back to see the movie again.
It's very true. Very true. Same thing with you, Q, in regards to, and I have the list popped up here too, guys. In regards to, let me pull it up here.
Yeah.
So that's our slate of films. So again, Q, in regards to future of the MCU excitement level, reaching the heights of Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, off of these films, no, I agree with you that I think this is definitely a phase one to get us started to building up to this type of level event again. Now, to get on like a level of Infinity War and Endgame, it's gonna be probably. This is a tall drink of water, you know what I'm saying? Endgame is the biggest film of all time, ever. You know what I'm saying? And it took 10 years to get up to that, you know what I'm saying? It took a decade to get to that point. Like he said, it's a monumental event. It's an event that we go to. And, you know, like to get up into that level is going to take something like a Thanos character, like Galactus, Silver Surfer, X-Men, the Avengers, Spider-Man, all in this one combination again to make that awesome movie that you have to go see. This is the event of the year. That's what it's going to take. And will we see it on this slate? I don't think so. I think within the next 5 to 10 years we might get there, but I don't see us surpassing something like an Endgame with all your major players, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., you know, Hemsworth. I mean, it's just a monumental thing. I don't think you can get to that so quickly. It's going to take some time to build it up.
Yeah, you can't rush it.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, same question for you too, Chris, in regards to, I'm sorry, let me pull up that list again for you, but the anticipation for the future films and, you know, leading up to the next big Avenger 5 movie.
Yeah, well, for me, like I said earlier, we're starting to get to the meat and potatoes of what I come to the MCU for, the cosmic stuff. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm rewatching Star Trek in this quarantine. I finally have the time to do that. I love space and I love the vastness of it and the way filmmakers explore it. So for me personally, it might hit an expectation level of Endgame, but to be honest with you, it seems like we're all saying the same thing. I don't think we're ever going to see this happen again. And it's no fault of Marvel's. I think they did the unthinkable. I think it'll take another 12 to 15 years to get there. To me personally, I think it's going to be a combination of if we can get the rights to the X-Men, if we can get the Fantastic Four situation figured out, and then if they can execute on those films like they have in the past, we might have a shot to achieve it. But I don't know, guys. Like, they did the unthinkable, you know? Like, they did it. Like, this is the apex of that. Yeah,
I mean, for all my sports fans out there, and again, I will, you know, go to finish up your thought, Chris, and you know, switching over to David. But you know, Michael Jordan, you know, he three-peat, Kobe Bryant and Shaq three-peat. So I mean, you know, Kevin Feige, he got some rings on his fingers, but you know, down Tom Brady, you know, like I said, and for, you know, I know you're in Canada, Brandon. I don't know. What's Mike, or not Mike Trudesky? What's the big hockey player out there? I can't think of his name. Or Wayne Gretzky. Yeah, I mean, he has titles. He has the rings to prove it. So I don't know. Should we doubt Kevin Feige? What was that?
Are Kevin Feige's rings like Infinity Stones?
Yeah. Should we doubt that Kevin can't do it again?
Yeah,
will he be around for another 15 plus years? But to finish your thoughts, Chris, and then to transition over to David. So yeah, what were your final thoughts on that, Chris?
I would love to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
That's about it, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, David, in regards to this slate of films and phase 4, man, and excitement level and build into an Avengers 5.
Oh man, excitement level. I'm excited for all of these. Probably Black Widow on my lowest tier, just because I explained before about the whole. I love superheroes because they have superpowers. You know what I mean? But that's not to discredit her at all whatsoever. But talking back about the, financially, is any other MCU movie going to hit as big as Endgame, or just even Infinity War in general? The whole, because I consider them one movie. So no, the quick answer is probably no. The closest I could see is probably Black Panther, just because the whole, I've never seen so many African Americans come out and support a superhero movie like when I saw Black Panther in theaters. And that's a huge demographic that you want to get out supporting. And I mean, you had pretty much all black cast besides what's his name, Martin Freeman, so it's like
Andy Serkis,
yeah, exactly, as well as the people behind the scenes, the soundtrack, the director, everybody involved. And I thought it was a beautiful thing. It was awesome. I love what they did with that movie. If you guys saw, I did a watch along for that last night for Black Panther. It was a very impactful movie, but even that as a sequel will not, but I think that would probably be the closest one that could get money wise to like an Endgame or something like that. But this list that I'm looking at, Black Widow I think is going to do pretty well. Eternals is kind of a hit or miss because not a lot of people know about Eternals. It's kind of going into a fresh mind. Shang-Chi I can see doing really, really well for some reason. I can see doing really well. And then of course the Thor heads, people love Thor, so I think that's probably going to do extremely well as well. And then Doctor Strange, depending on what direction they go, could do possibly financially well. And then Captain Marvel always holds, a soft spot in my heart. A lot of people did not like Captain Marvel for whatever reason, but I thought it was a good movie overall. And that's fine. And I would love to see, I mean, she's like the Superman of freaking the MCU, to me at least, to me. So I would love to see her character. I mean, I'm trying to watch this movie at the same time. We're getting the huge Wakanda battle scene, but financially, I don't see any movie getting close to the Endgame status.
Yeah, no, and you guys, like I said, really well spoken in regards to the future of the MCU, and we'll bring this conversation up again towards the end, but really well said. But yeah, we can definitely embrace this moment, guys. This was when, Wakanda coming off Black Panther, as we mentioned, was a financial success, but also, critically acclaimed, and the audience loved it. I loved it. It's in my top 5 MCU films to date, and we'll get to that list here in a bit in regards to our top 5 films. But we can definitely kind of talk. We can kind of dissect, break down this scene, bringing us back to the theater 2 years ago. Where were you at, Brandon, regarding jaw on the ground? We're watching Wakanda under attack by the outsiders and the Black Order. What are your thoughts, taking you back in the time machine 2 years ago? Where were you at mentally during this moment?
Well, I saw this in Cineplex VIP theater. So it was one of those like really, it's one of those where you have those tables and you can get food and drinks and stuff. So me and my buddy were like, all right, make it a double, make it another double. It's like we're watching Infinity War, right? This is like the moment, right? It's an event, right? So I call these moments like shiver moments where you're like, right, and it takes you back to your childhood where you're like watching something on the screen for the first time and you're like, oh my god, the magic of cinema, and it's right here. So zooming in on Black Panther right there, Wakanda forever. And when a bunch of people scream and all run towards an objective, that for some reason it just gives me shivers up my spine. So I just knew that, like, it's all this build up to this villain who is seemingly unbeatable, right? And just shivers. This is probably one of my favorite moments in the MCU. And then spoilers, when Thor shows up.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that for sure.
Right, and then I played in the band for quite a long time, so I used to play like classical music and jazz music. So like whenever you hear like a giant swell of music, like the heroic theme, like that's what it's all about, right? I think that's why I go to see movies, for moments like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Same with you, Ron. Where were you at, man? You see Cap and Black Panther T'Challa running to the front of the gates as the leaders. So where are you at mentally 2 years ago when this moment has happened? We see Shuri and everything going on. So yeah.
You bring me back into those times, man. Oh man, my goosebumps were flaring on my shoulders to the neck, to my head. I was losing my mind. My friends were to my right of me, to the left of me, and the crowd in the back was just roaring for everything. And especially when T'Challa said, Wakanda forever. Because I've only experienced these kind of things in baseball stadiums, and like they all went forever. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then especially seeing Cap and Black Panther both run together, going full speed with each other. I was like, we going to town on this now.
Yes,
like,
Oh man,
it's crazy this way. Like, I've never in my life experienced that in these movies, because again, I guess because we've all connected with all these characters and all these movies building up to this moment.
Yeah.
And every blow that they were throwing, every little thing, you were feeling it. You're erupting with them. And especially a part that from me personally, that'll come up later on in that fight when you see Scarlet again. I love that too. So like seeing again characters from other movies join together and fighting with each other and doing combo moves with each other.
Yeah,
that was sick and amazing. So
it's what we go to see these films. Yeah, it's what we go to see. Being comic book fans, seeing that on the big screen is awesome. So Q, yeah, just the same question for you, man. During this third act of the film, were you getting the goosebumps? Were you passed out seeing some of these scenes?
Yeah, I almost passed out when I seen Chikala go like this and say Wakanda forever. They charge on the sea, and they got the camera right there. They all run. It was like, oh, stop! So they doing it. They doing it. It was incredible. You know what I'm saying? You see Cap throwing blows with the shield. I was like, this is one of my favorite battles of all time. I mean, as the battle goes, like I don't know what to compare that to. Maybe Game of Thrones, the Battle of the Bastards. I mean, that was incredible.
Right.
But this was just meant so much more since I've been on this journey so long. So I love this scene. I love this Wakanda scene. It's one of the best in the film. I mean, that's where you go, like you said.
This is great too, right here.
This is great to see Groot finally kind of step up and put the game down. Get Stormbreaker, which is I guess the most powerful. We'll talk about that scene here when he goes against Thanos. But I mean, this is an incredible weapon that Thor has in his possession now, and only a few people can hold that weapon. So yeah, and again for you, Chris, going to this moment, man, where you're at with the film at this point, and just adrenaline level pumping at all-time high.
So I mean, I've said a bunch on our show, like I think that Marvel has mastered the ensemble cast.
Yeah,
because no one is stepping on anyone's toes here. If anything, it's just they're somehow managing to show the best of all these characters' abilities, but also sneaking in little character moments like we had just had Groot right there, you know, and we're getting to see like people at this point in the movie. I remember myself, I was like, damn, I would love to see more of this era of Groot's life. Like he's a teenager, but he's also this funny character. So like, but we get these little glimpses in the midst of the battle. So I mean, it's just masterful, man. Like I said, I have my ups and downs with the Marvel films, but I can't deny Infinity War is a great film.
And I want to get your thoughts, David, but let's embrace this moment because this.
I was gonna say this is my favorite moment. You perfectly timed it. This is my favorite moment.
I got
right
I
here.
still get chills to this date seeing this scene. He says, "Give me Thanos." I was in the theater cheering with everyone else, and I'm normally a respectful person in the theater. Like I don't like to make noises, but I literally was like viscerally excited with this moment. It's just so badass.
So I think when I first saw this scene right here, it was very comparable to the Ragnarok scene. I mean, there's Thanos right there, but the Ragnarok scene when he finally gets that awesome haircut, the short hair, where he's just like, I forget, they play like some kind of rock music like "Welcome to the Jungle" or some shit like that, and then he just comes in with the lightning. He knew he had it inside him the whole time, and that was awesome. So that's what I can compare it to. And I mean, he's the one, man. He's the man,
I agree.
Yeah. No, also,
I don't even know what the question was you asked me, by the way. Sorry.
It was I lost my Thor in that moment. I love that moment. I think it was just in a matter of I honestly don't know.
The battle scene. I think it was
just where you were at the theater, and I mean, you just summarized it. I mean, it just encapsulates the moment and takes you back to that moment seeing Thor.
Yeah, it's just another one of those. You're sad that you can't live those moments for a while we're all quarantined. I mean, because that's the joy of being at a theater, man. Is embracing people that are like-minded like you. I mean, and just sharing that enjoyment. I don't know if you guys do this, but I was watching the other night. On YouTube, they have reactions for Infinity War.
We live in the moments,
just hearing those audio bits, going along with the scenes, magical. It's just magical, man. It's crazy.
I did not know that existed. Thank you.
Yeah,
YouTube that, please.
This scene right here is my favorite scene through the movie when Thanos talks to Doctor Strange. I I love Thanos. He's so calm. And again, it brought up how he's explaining again how he's the hero. Like he's saying, what I'm doing is just because of what happened in the past.
Yeah.
You know, and I really love that. I love in this, and how Doctor Strange is telling me, crazy. You're just crazy. And he's like, sometimes people think genius is crazy.
Yeah. This is a great scene, and I'm gonna let you guys kind of, talk about this scene here in regards to Doctor Strange and the setup with Peter Quill and everyone. I'm gonna run to the bathroom. This is crazy because I remember seeing this at the theater 3 times, and as well as in game. Didn't go to the bathroom once, but I have to go to the bathroom, drinking all this water. So, guys, talk about the scene, and I will be right back.
Same here, but I'm gonna hold it.
Doom.
I'm actually curious. Like, what did you guys think of Doctor Strange when he came onto the scene in 2016? Because I wasn't that impressed with that movie, but he certainly saves himself going forward for me with these.
Same here. Wasn't the most impressed with it, but like, seeing Doctor Strange in this movie, you're like, oh yeah, Doctor Strange, and then it's kind of like the character itself is bigger than the film that he got. It's all personal opinion.
He becomes awesome to me, specifically in this movie, but like. 2016, I left the theaters being like, this is where we're going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
It was definitely a movie that went over a lot of people's heads. I mean, you kind of had to embrace the whole bending of everything pretty much. And that was like not your typical, there was that F you right there, but that was not your typical MCU movie at the time. So a lot of people didn't, I guess, embrace it like they maybe thought it would go. But yeah, I totally agree. At first, I didn't really understand where it was going. I didn't really care for the character, but in Infinity War, I grew to love him.
I've always been a fan of Benedict Cumberbatch, and a lot of my friends will also keep informing more like, man, he's perfect for Doctor Strange. He's perfect. And like a lot of you guys said, that I enjoyed his performance in the movie, but like the movie as a whole, like, it didn't really captivate me. Besides like those scenes, those cinematography was really good, but honestly, I keep telling you, like, if you ask me again, explain the movie, I don't know. I kind of forgot again. But this movie, Infinity War, again, shows the strength of his character, of him, especially when he's going back and forth with other characters, is seeing his strength. And it shows that there's a lot more to him, too. It makes me more of a fan of him.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Whatever you said sounded great, Ron. I'm sure it was really and awesome, man. I appreciate that, guys. Again, I've seen these movies like 6 times in total. I didn't go to the bathroom once, but it's crazy. As we kind of see this scene play out, this is what we wanted to see, right? You wanted to see Thanos versus the Avengers, and we get this moment here: Spider-Man and Iron Man and Guardians and Doctor Strange. This is just draw on the ground at this moment.
I've never been so pissed at Star-Lord in my life when this happened.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about it, guys. Starting with Brandon, we'll do a round table style. Was Peter Quill in the wrong for
100%. Well, then again, you know what? In terms of Disney's marketing, it's like if Star-Lord did the right thing, we wouldn't even have an Endgame.
Right.
Right. But then again, some nerds will argue, well, there's only one way, right? There's only one way that they win. So it had to happen, right?
Exactly.
But yeah, like just it was the glove was like this. It's like you're so close.
So close.
Literally maybe a split second away, and my movie froze. But anyways, I can figure it out.
Yeah, and to that point too, just to let everyone at home know, we're an hour 51 minutes, 22 seconds into the film, and I think we all can agree that Peter made a bad decision. He thought he acted on emotion. His at this point, Guardians of the Galaxy timeline, they spent the last 4 years Earth time with each other, so they've developed their relationship. So obviously, it's hard to hear. I mean, can we blame him that if someone?
I can't blame. Look, I get it. I understand. Look, what's this stupid? Yes, completely stupid. Don't let your emotions get involved in the battle. But brother, I understand how you feel, man. It hurt me. I would have done the same thing. Okay, I don't think with my head. I think with my heart. And I feel pretty well.
Say that, yeah. Like, we look at this now. It's like, oh, I wouldn't have done that because it's so obvious that Peter Quill, what a dumbass. But it's like, if the guy killed his girlfriend, right?
Exactly.
It's so easy to say in hindsight. But yeah, Ron, I totally agree. Totally agree with you.
this comment here, Perk Miner bringing up the Doctor Doom as the next big villain, which I would love to see, and that can definitely play into even a Black Panther 2 regarding Doctor Doom's kind of his his background and him owning. He's a king himself, and essentially he runs his own country. So I would love to see Doctor Doom maybe make an appearance before the Fantastic Four. This part right here also blew my mind.
Yeah,
a moon at Iron Man.
That's dirty. Come on, Thanos. Dirty.
Yeah. This part of the movie was blowing my mind when I seen it, like the whole fight.
This always reminds me of when Goku throws the spirit bomb.
Exactly.
I always think of that.
I remember like a year before the film came out, and they had D23, and the whole description of the trailer came out, and they mentioned that Thanos throws a moon at Iron Man. I'm like, what? He throws a moon, and seeing it, I mean, it's just crazy.
Okay.
Hey, real quick, going back to what you said about Doom. I feel like he's a character that they always go back to, and I love seeing him all the time. And Fantastic Four was like one of my guilty pleasures, of course, growing up. I mean, but now it's shit, you know. But like, I never wanted to see that remake they did a couple years ago with Michael B. Jordan.
Miles Teller and all that.
I don't know how that went, but I would love for them. I would love for them to try to focus on Silver Surfer, on getting a perfect Silver Surfer. Try to bring him into this world. I think they can do it. I mean, if they could do a Thanos, they can definitely do a cool Silver Surfer.
Yeah. I be coming.
The future's bright for the MCU with Fantastic Four and X-Men. I mean, and again, we were talking about the anticipation. I think just anticipation of seeing the Fantastic Four interact with the Avengers and X-Men and Doctor Doom and their villains. Again, and Kevin Feige, I trust. I think they're gonna blow our minds with this next phase of movies and introducing these incredible villains that, like Brandon was saying earlier, Doctor Doom doesn't see himself as a villain. Silver Surfer is kind of almost like in a vein of a Dr. Manhattan. They're just, his thought process and his what he believes in. So I mean, there's so many great characters. And again, Magneto being brought into the mix, he doesn't think himself as a villain. He thinks he's protecting his people, the mutants. So there's a lot of storylines I'm looking forward to seeing in this next phase.
Because with Silver Surfer, you get Galactus.
Yeah, I mean, we're going into the cosmos.
And imagine bringing him up.
Oh yeah.
Not a cloud, like the actual.
There's unlimited things you can do with it.
Yeah,
definitely. And we talked about Black Panther, the significance of, black cast, black director, writer. I mean, it broke new ground, and we were talking about box office. I think of Chin-Chi as another film that can surprise a lot of people in regards to being represented on the screen. The Asian community, the American Asian community, seeing themselves on the big screen. I think of Crazy Rich Asians, how well that did at the box office. So there's a lot of opportunities for the MCU in regards to people feeling like they can see themselves on the big screen, which is important.
That was a movie that surprised me too.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it, but someone in the chat was saying like, "Oh, they forgot about Blade." Like that had an African American cast.
Yeah,
but that wasn't that wasn't a predominantly black cast. I mean, you had the girl, of course, the mother that gives birth at the beginning, but I mean, other than that, you didn't really have a predominantly black cast. But I mean, Blade is always the ultimate. That's one of the movies that people forget about that Marvel property. So I'm so glad that they're rebooting it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about TV earlier with Moonlight being an introduction to Blade, or even Doctor Strange too. I can't wait to see Mahershala Ali as Blade. It's really, really, really awesome.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
it's on my watch list. I still haven't seen Blade, but I heard someone mention it in the chat, and
I love it.
I'll mention it now.
Some parts don't hold up. Some parts don't hold up in 2020. I'll tell you that.
Favorite out of the trilogy.
98.
Yeah,
1998. Yeah,
I'm excited to see what they do. Obviously, we talked about the Disney approach. They can't, obviously, it won't be rated R like Wesley Snipes' film, but I think we can. If you think about some of these MCU films in regards to the mature audience nature of it, of course, there's no sex scenes or cursing every now and then, but I mean, we look at Endgame. Someone gets their head chopped off within the first 5 minutes of the film, so I think the PG-13 has its limits, but at the same time, it has its endless possibilities. So,
but the cool thing about Blade is when he was slicing up vampires, they were like disintegrating into dust. So I mean, you didn't really have blood going on, so they can pull it off. I think in a PG-13 way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with like the Blade lore or the Blade mythos, so I'm excited to see that in this universe. I think those are the kind of decisions that they need to make if we want to like get to what we were talking about earlier with like can we top Endgame?
Yeah.
We need to now get to more of like some of like the more abstract or lesser known Marvel properties and give them a like kind of like I feel like Captain Marvel pretty much came out of nowhere until she now is like one of the biggest things. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think that's what we need.
Yeah, no, I mean, to that point, Chris, I mean, Blade jumps into the supernatural elements of the MCU, which we got a hint of that in Doctor Strange, but that was obviously more cosmic type of vibes and genre. But, the Blade genre is definitely going to be more on the horror side, which I know Scott Derrickson, the director of Doctor Strange, wanted to bring that into part 2. But I'm excited to see what they do with the supernatural elements and vampires and, maybe Morbius and connect into that.
I was just about to say Morbius, man. I mean, that's why we're getting more. And honestly, I'll be honest. I've never even heard of Morbius, so I kind of just started Googling and I saw the comic art and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome that they're bringing in these lesser known properties to the big screen.
Yeah. What's the deal with Morbius? I'm not gonna lie when I say I'm like David. I just heard the name. I'm not familiar with it though. Yeah, I mean, I didn't Google it.
Yeah, no, he's. I mean, you guys can take the reins, Q or Brandon, but I mean, just kind of in a nutshell, Morbius is an anti-hero approach, just like a villain. He has a thirst for blood, just like a vampire would, but he created himself in regards to a vampire, and obviously he has his connections to Spider-Man, but just think of him as an anti-hero in a sense that he doesn't see himself doing bad because he's a doctor trying to cure himself from dying, but he's also killing people by drinking their blood. So it's going to be a really interesting film. And I know Jared Leto gets crap on his Joker performance, but we all got to remember he's an Academy Award winning actor. He's a great actor. So I'm looking forward to
one film does not define your career.
Exactly.
No, 100%. No. And so it seems like what I say on my show all the time is like, there's a big sandbox to play with here, and it feels like we're just starting to expand with Marvel, and that gets me excited then.
Definitely.
So I'm looking forward to Phase 4.
Oh, man.
So thoughts on this fight here, guys? Doctor Strange versus Thanos.
Ooh, this was an ultimate right here, solo.
He's being creative. Very creative in the way he's fighting him.
Yeah. So we're an hour, 50 minutes, 59, 30 seconds. So this is Doctor Strange versus Thanos going toe-to-toe.
I love that.
Look at that.
Yeah. This is awesome.
Look at that.
This is awesome.
I think like the Thor showing up in Wakanda is one of my favorite scenes, but I think my favorite scene is actually coming up when Thanos shows back up in Wakanda, and then it shows all slow-mo, like all the Avengers just trying everything they got, and Captain America's, it's all in slow-mo, right? And he's just nope. And then
the crowd lost it for that.
Right. So, yeah.
So I know, and we can get to this topic here in regards to Iron Man and what you guys think about him. But this is Tony, going back to his PTSD that he experienced in Avengers. This is what he's been waiting for. This is what he's been making all those suits for and protecting Pepper in the world for this moment. And now he has the person that was in his dreams, his nightmares right in front of him. I remember Thanos.
And that was one of the things that I felt that Iron Man 3 like almost went with it, but didn't go all the way with it, at least for me. Like for his PSD with that, because that's one I think that we could have dealt with that a lot with the film, but
a lot of people.
I felt it didn't go that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a lot of people say, and I agree with this, that Iron Man 3 is a good Shane Black film, but maybe not the best MCU film in regards to continuity and storylines carrying over to this. Because if you remember, he blew up all his suits in Iron Man 3, but now he has all his suits back, and when we see him,
we got money to do that, I guess.
Yeah.
That was kind of a one and done movie for me. I saw it and I was like, nah, I just put it back on the shelf. It was not a rewatchable movie to me.
Well, I'm with you on that. Ron, I'm also with you, man. Like, they just started to scratch the surface, and then by the time that movie was over, you're like, oh, I sat there for almost 2 hours, and I feel like I got nothing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
yes, 100%. Because I understand people's dislike of the movie. I don't hate it. Like I can say, yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah. But I saw like so much of it, which it could have been way better for my expectations, but I felt like they just went halfway and just said, nah.
Yeah.
Take that.
Yeah. Oh man, I feel like I'm the hot one out. You know, Iron Man 3 is my top 5.
For you?
Oh no!
Okay.
All right, I'm okay. Walking out.
I get,
Walking
I
out,
get
bye.
it, though. I really do. I really get it though. Why
It's
you know people are, and a lot of my personal friends like really hate it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, I
The
always love
Matrix
this
twist, Ben Kingsley, and everything. And I know some people in the chat, and I thank you, Brandon, for queuing them up. But yeah, just for timestamp wise, we're 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 29 seconds of the film. This is where Iron Man just got sunned by Thanos.
Yeah.
Head and gave him a little speech. And now this is the big moment, guys. This is where Doctor Strange
I hope they remember
gives up what he was sworn to always protect, which is the time stone.
He said he told us that.
Yeah.
Never let forget about that moment.
Yeah.
This was like our biggest clue to Endgame, or this was our like biggest kind of like foreshadow. It's like, okay, what's gonna happen in Endgame? I guess this is like the real scene that really kind of okay. Tony Stark, I knew right away that he was going to be vital.
Yeah.
In the defeat of Thanos, right? Because you can't just end this on a sad ending, right? It has to, like, Iron Man was the one who started it all. Iron Man had to be the one that ended it all. He was the most vital one to this plan, so that's why we needed him alive. What was going to happen? Who knew? But yeah, I mean, I thought he was going to die here too when I first saw it.
I remember all the videos too, all the think pieces and YouTube videos of this moment and what it's going to mean for the future and all that stuff, and the leading up to Endgame, the title of the movie. Doctor Strange says it himself, you know, in a couple.
I had no idea. Yeah, that caught me. I was like, oh wow, he actually said the title in the movie while all of us were still guessing what could Endgame be.
Totally.
This is dark. This one was like a full defeat moment. Like, dang.
Yeah, you know, it's like people have said that this is like the MCU's Empire Strikes Back. Have all your characters kind of spread out, and all of them lose, right?
Yeah,
all of them.
like this is a complete story. Yeah, they lose. Like this.
I would love to see them take a similar approach with the through line, with the hinting and paying off the smallest minutia from like the earlier films with Star Wars going forward. I think they have a real opportunity there that I think they squandered with this new trilogy, just completely.
Well, to that point, let's talk about it regarding our top 5 MCU films. Starting off.
Oh dang! It came here. It's the
We
moment.
can get into it now. Starting off with your number 5 and giving us to your number 1. What's your top 5, Brandon?
You know what? When you were talking about this earlier, I'm like, oh shit, I better write this down. Like, and I actually don't. I really do have to think about it. But off the top of my head, I'll go number 5, Iron Man 3.
Okay.
It's unpopular, I know. Number 4, I'll go Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 3, I'll go Endgame. Number 2, I'll go Winter Soldier. And number 1, I'll go Infinity War.
Awesome. And this is the scene you were talking about, Brandon. This is the score. He's coming up.
That's him.
This
and then
so nasty.
Like literally, the hope meter is just dwindling down. It's like stay sharp, and slow motion. Just all of our characters. Nope. And then of course, you know, Wanda doing what she has to do, the ultimate sacrifice. And then obviously with the whole like the time, like just the Hulk or Bruce Banner and the Hulk Smasher. Is that what it's called? Hulk Smasher? Whatever it is. You know, no
Hulk Buster.
that thing over there.
Yeah, there's always a name for it. I'm always, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Black Panther, nothing. Falcon, nothing. Like this, just
dang.
You know, it's like men versus boys, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I like that right there. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Your turn, Ron. We got Brandon's top 5. Number 1 is Infinity War. What's your 5 through 1, my friend?
Ooh, all right. I got my paper right there, so I'm already set up to go. Number 5, Iron Man. Okay. Number 4, Civil War. Okay, that film still holds a special place in my heart. Number 3, Endgame. And number 2 and number 1 can flip-flop like back and forth no matter what in my mind. But as just for this moment right now, number 2 is Winter Soldier. And number 1 is Infinity War.
Okay.
Nice.
Because
I like that list. I like that list a lot.
Thank you, Chris, man. Thank you. And because like in this moment here, the whole crowd I watched it with, everyone was like gasping and saying no, like feeling like, what can we do? What's gonna happen? He can't be stopped. So I think that's why it holds a special more place in my heart with this.
Definitely.
Especially this scene right here. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, this is exactly War Machine. No,
that was painful.
Get the hell out of here. I mean,
Yeah, Q, my man. What's your top 5 MCU films, man?
Yeah, this is hard. So I think I'm gonna go, yeah, I'm trying to think about it in my head now. So like if I had to pick the top 5, I think I'm gonna go with I'm thinking I'm going Winter Soldier for number 5. Give me Iron Man number 1 for number 4. Give me Civil War for my number 3. Give me Endgame for number 2, and give me Infinity War for number 1. I just couldn't believe that they actually let the villain win, because this storyline is really over. You know what I'm saying? Like if you think about it, there was no Endgame. It's not a continuation, really. I mean, like he won. It's not like Empire Strike Back. Empire Strike Back. Oh, he cut his hand off. You know he's a daddy. There's still more to tell of that story. This is almost like a complete contained story. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Endgame is its own separate movie. They're 2 different movies, but you know, dealing with the same concept. But yeah, that's why I think it's my number 1. And Thanos is just dope to me.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. And then
Did
Chris,
we lose Chris?
Oh, here he is, right on cue, man. What's your top 5, Chris?
Word Q, you got to tell me afterwards what your top 5 was, man. I had a little bit of
at
the moment.
You have to watch the replay.
Wi-Fi.
No.
But I'm sure you said some great things. So my top 5, and I got to start off with what started it all off, Iron Man. I almost feel terrible doing it during this moment right here. It's such a good moment. But yeah, so I'm going to go with Iron Man, and then don't hate me, Thor the Dark World. I can justify that.
Oh my God.
Very hot take.
With the hot take. I love that. Go, Chris. Go with your bad self.
A great film. Then I got to give it to Winter Soldier. Then Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. And I think the movie we're watching right now takes the cake. That's why I was very excited with what you said, Ron.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
man.
love it. I love it.
A couple people in here, you know, have said Infinity War number 1. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, David. What's you got, my friend?
All right, so I'm torn. I actually have a top 7 because I have a lot of splits, man. So it's
Of course.
tough.
Yeah.
So top 5 is a split between Iron Man and Guardians of the Galaxy, because like Chris said, I mean, Iron Man started it all, but it was one of those things. It's like these MCU movies just got better with time. So like most of my movies are like the more recent ones. So jumping to 4, a lot of people didn't say it. It was Spider-Man Far From Home to me. But I don't know if I heard a Spidey movie in there in anybody's list, but
Nope.
yeah, so I had that, and then I also had for number 3 I have Black Panther, not just because I recently watched it, but it had more of an impact for some reason as a solo movie. And then we have 2, Captain America Winter Soldier, and that was a tie with Ragnarok because I love Ragnarok so much. I don't know, it had to be somewhere on the list. And then what am I at? Number 1? Number 1 is Avengers Infinity War, the one we are watching. Out of the 2, Endgame and Infinity War was just, like Q said, man, it ended off on, the audience just felt broken. It was like, how the hell how is this the end? Like, how, you know, I mean, I know it was a 2-parter, but how did this end the movie like this, you know?
No, that's
especially this scene.
Infinity War.
Yeah, no, this is a big moment for Thor. Again, as we said up top, if there's 2 storylines that, you know, 2 characters that got the most arc, was Thor on his revenge of vengeance, and of course Thanos. So this was his moment. As we talked about Chris Pratt and Star-Lord's moment, but why did he aim for the head, guys?
Aim for the head, yeah.
He was playing with his food. That's what happened. He played with the food. It just ended.
Yeah.
And we got a couple other lists here, and I'll just kind of spitfire my list, and a lot of it's going to be familiar to you guys. But number 5 for me, Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's as far as like heart goes, it's one of the most heartfelt films in the MCU to me. Peter Quill and his mom, that scene gets me every time, and the score is fantastic. And again, the you know, characters we didn't know about, and now we love Groot, Rocket, all that stuff. So that's my number 5. Black Panther's number 4 for me. Again, like David said, the film just kind of hit me on so many levels. Not only is it a great MCU film, but it's just a great film in general. And we talked a little bit about villains earlier. I think Killmonger before Thanos was my favorite villain in the MCU, and I thought you know, they did such a great job with that cast. Number 3 is Winter Soldier for me. I think it's, as far as solo films go, we were talking about just the genre switching that MCU kind of did as the phases went on. You know, we get the political thriller, we get the family adventure with an Ant-Man. I think that, you know, the genre really became something that they implemented in the MCU with Winter Soldier being a political thriller. I just love that film. Number 2, Endgame, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later and watching tomorrow. And then number 1 is Infinity War. So,
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Infinity War number 1? Did we all say that?
I think so.
That's beautiful. That is
This
just
was meant to be. You
beautiful.
assembled a good team, Elliot.
yeah.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the snap.
Oh, yeah.
So
Dang,
where's
I got
everyone at emotionally by this point in their first watch through of the movie?
Drained up, gone. Like just
Yeah.
so confused.
The theater was so quiet. The theater was so damn quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was
Thor's face.
What?
People were just like, no, no, no. You know.
Thor's face reaction was like everyone like looking back and forth, like, what's going on? What happened? What happened?
This is the moment here. This is where everyone just couldn't believe what was happening.
Oh,
Cap sees Winter Soldier.
I was
Bruce
watching.
sees Black Panther. I forget her name.
Okoye.
Okoye. Okoye is the one who witnesses Black Panther. You know, it's like they could have had anyone, but they had the right character witness the right characters going away. Rocket sees Groot, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Peter Parker. You know what I mean? So
The people that connected with the most, like the most of them. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That made a lot of sense.
yeah, so like right here, like Okoye, like her job is like, you know, to protect Black Panther. It's like,
Protect them.
well, your whole purpose is kind of just the rush of emotions going through. Like you can't even handle that, and you can really see that there. And then Groot, of course, Groot was a tough one. That was a ballsy move.
Peter Parker were my kind of like.
You know, Rocket
Like a,
sarcastic
like a brother to him.
That was almost like the baby Yoda of MCU.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think James Gunn might have confirmed that Groot said at that moment, "Dad" or something like that. Like, you know, don't let this happen.
Oh,
Wow.
dang.
Damn, where you at? Like,
Is that's
Dang.
for real? Like he views Rocket as like a father figure?
Well, if you remember, you know, in Guardians, that particular Groot, you know, died. You know, however old that Groot was brought back as a kid. So, you know, those 4 years from Guardians of the Galaxy 2 to where we're at now, that particular Groot, his mindset is he probably looks at Rocket as his dad.
Got you.
Wow.
Got you.
Makes it hit a little bit harder. Wow.
yeah, seeing Peter Quill go, that surprised me because I thought like, oh, they're having like all like the main characters, but there's only, I believe, the 2 Guardians that remain are Rocket and Nebula, right? Yeah. And then it's like, oh, well, they have to have Star-Lord because he's the main one, right? And then, of course, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Gee, all right, well.
And I remember all the conversations being had during this time. It's just like when people were like, how could they kill their main, you know, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Doctor Strange? These are people that lead their own films. It's such a bold move from the MCU to make this.
I always thought it was funny how much time like it took Tom Holland to just kind of disintegrate. He had a whole speech before he's like, no, I gotta get my speech so everybody can tear up for me.
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Russo brothers had confirmed that, you know, Peter was able to sense him dying to Spidey sense, and obviously
that makes sense. That makes sense.
A rough one here.
And it feels so innocent, you know.
Yeah.
Like you know, in the end, Peter's a kid.
He's a kid. Yeah, he's the youngest of the bunch.
Oh, Spider-Man.
Besides Groot.
So it made that moment more like a kid just being like, I don't want to go, save me, like, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish is that they showed the cameraman like just stayed on RDJ a little bit longer because you know, like you were saying, like his nightmares have become a reality. He lost everyone, but that's all we got, right? It's like I think that you really should have stayed on him just a little bit longer. Really let that moment sink in. And of course, this moment is powerful anyways, but just like that.
Yeah.
You know, but again,
and
it's
like you said, because like right here, everyone's quiet.
Yeah.
Like no one's saying anything. The whole crowd I was in, nothing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I just finished. Go.
I was gonna say it's a trip how all the majority of the originals stayed along. The original Avengers were all there pretty much for the most part.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Besides a couple of new ones, Rocket and you know Thor and stuff like that. Or not Thor. I'm sorry. There's a couple of the side ones.
Nebula.
Yeah, Nebula. Exactly.
And this.
She was always someone that was very underrated to me.
Yeah, she's cool.
Oh, no. 100%.
That's kind of why I went with one of the OGs for my original answer, because like when Elliot asked us like who our favorites were, just because they've been through so much, like Thor's been through so much at this point, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
like,
love this scene right here. I love this. This is my favorite.
He decided this is what he wanted to do: lay on, sit on the countryside and smile on his face.
yeah.
He won.
He did it.
He did exactly it.
He did it.
If we think about the MCU films in regards to villains and their playing out between, you got Thanos who did his job, and also Zemo from Winter Soldier. He did exactly what he said he was going to do: destroy or Civil War, destroy the Avengers. So those are only two villains that accomplished their goals. Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but the version I'm watching is a little different. I see Thanos kind of rolling up a joint and saying, "Yeah."
All part of plan.
Yeah,
I saw that joke going. I'm like, I'll take it. Why not?
Nice. That's good. That's good.
But yeah, there it is.
Well, there it is. We still got one more. We got the post-credit scene, and we'll break that down and talk about it. But just final thoughts, starting off with Brandon, man. Again, I know it's hard to put yourself in the 2-year time machine, but on the 27th, which is this Monday, it will be officially 2 years since this film came out. So going back to 2 years ago, 2018, the end credits are rolling, Brandon. You're in your theater. Where are you at now?
Give me a time machine. Let's bring it 1 year later. Like, you gotta finish Endgame, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a great cliffhanger, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is my favorite MCU movie only because the stakes are the highest they've ever been. Right, you can feel that, and you can feel that Thanos is a pure, true challenge. Right, so it's like you have all of these heroes in one movie. The villain better be a challenge, right? Because if you have some guy like, "Hello, I'm going to defeat you," like Avengers, then okay, well then there's no stakes, there's no real deep emotional investment. It's like someone like Thanos is able to bring those emotional moments out of Thor, out of Gamora, out of those people. So, and I think that's why it's the most emotionally hard hitting out of all the MCU movies for me. So that's why it's my favorite.
Well said. Well said. Same with you, Ron. Where were you at, man, during this moment when these end credits are rolling? Are you sobbing uncontrollably? Are you just like, I can't wait for the next adventure? What's going to happen next? Where were you at?
Man, I was dumbfounded. And the whole crowd was dumbfounded. And the score didn't help. Granted, I downloaded this and it's on my phone. I love this score, but this tone of dread and dreary, everybody was just so quiet. I've never felt that in the theater in my life. And especially when this is about to come up with the title of the movie. And you were just sitting there all defeated, can't believe this happened. And then just dusted out with the title. Everyone's like, oh, and one person yelled out, I want my mama. It's one of those things I never ever thought they would go there, because I always felt that it's when you build up somebody, the impact has to hit hard. The home run has to go there. You can't go halfway. You got to go all the way. And I was really proud that they took Thanos, a villain that, and everyone can admit it, that before he showed up, everyone was making jokes about him, making memes about him, saying the man on the couch, he ain't gonna do squat. Why should we be scared of him? Snap like that. Now everyone's wearing the gloves. Everyone has Thanos t-shirts. Everyone is talking about him on every show. That moment just shook me, and I was taken back by it, and because I think then I said, this is one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life, and to this day it's still the same.
I hear you, man. Chris, what was your thoughts 2 years ago, man, after these credits are rolling?
Yeah, so where I'm from, we all go to the diner right after the film, usually about 1 a.m., and we just go and eat some greasy food and sort of break down the movie, and that's sort of why we started doing what we do. Dom was a part of that crew. And we were just shocked, man. We couldn't believe it. I was with all my film school friends and a bunch of like my film school snob friends, and even they were like, "Bro, like I have nothing critical to say." That was just
That's when you know.
you know.
That's when you know it got it.
That's when you know when the one dude who like every conversation about Marvel brings up what Scorsese said, even he gets shut up. I mean that was before this, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
So I mean, what more can you say than that?
Yeah.
There's nothing more to say.
Yeah. Q, man, where were you at, man, when you saw these credits, man? You just like, no, they didn't just kill half the MCU.
Exactly.
What's next?
Yeah. I'm just sitting there, and of course, in shock, like with my mouth open, just like everybody else. Like, did they literally just dust Spider-Man, son? Did they dust Spider-Man? I just watched them. He just had one more movie before they got dusted up.
Right.
Of course, in my my film mind, like, they're gonna bring them back though. But I believe they had the balls to actually do it. I thought Thanos was going to get the. I thought he was just gonna get all the stones, and then like I got the stones at the end of the Infinity War. I didn't think they was gonna dust people, dog. They dust half the MCU. I was just like, that was one of the greatest cinematic experiences I ever had in a film, because I've been invested for 10 years straight. Every year I'm at all these movies, and just to see them get wiped out like that by a awesome villain played by Josh Brolin, man. He did his thing on that, man. He's in my top 5 of favorite villains of all time. Thanos. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just changed the game. So I was excited. I was lost, but I was excited to see a film like that.
Yeah, I love Perk here. It says, I was cheering and laughing my ass off at the same time. That's funny. But yeah, David, where were you at, man, in regards to your emotional state, your mindset after this ending here?
Oh, man. I mean, I was shocked. I was speechless. But at the same time, walking out of the theater, of course, I was just like, damn, that was a good piece of cinema, and then I started to think, and I was like, okay, this is a movie that was like, because just dealing with cinema and stuff like that, just watching different kinds of cinema, subgenres and whatnot, there was always a stigma with the superhero thing. I felt like they didn't get acknowledged like the big dogs did every year at the Oscars, right? So they would always get put in this category where they were either below that, like it was beneath like the cinematography of whatever was going on big at the time. Yeah. So I finally I walked out of the theater thinking this will hold weight with the big dogs at the Oscars if it ever got a nomination or something like that. Like it was the first time that I thought I just loved it as a whole movie. I didn't think of it as a superhero movie at that time. I just thought of it as a good ass movie. Right. Mm-hmm. So but I knew that there would be more to come and more side characters, and just they were smart. They were just smart in the way they ended this movie.
Yeah. Well said, guys. And in regards to, Russo brothers, this is their third film during this time that they did for the MCU. And as we all agree, this is probably the best film in the MCU thus far. And, kudos to the Russo brothers, right? Coming in at Winter Soldier, coming in kind of midstream in a trilogy and knocking it out of the park with that, and following up with Civil War, which I think is, really, it's in my top 10 as far as MCU, and then coming in with the Infinity War. I mean, again, if we can kind of play the rewind game, when they announced that the Russo brothers were going to be involved, obviously Joss Whedon was the first 2 Avenger movies, and now we got the Russo brothers. I know I was excited to see them direct this film. But expectations, did it exceed your guys? I know it's all of our number ones, but like, you guys remember the theories, who's going to die, Captain America and Iron Man?
Oh, God, yeah.
There were teams making bets.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, in regards to just expectations, again, I know it's all of our number ones, but meet it, did it exceed it? I mean, what were you guys' theories that, did some of your theories play out right? If you guys remember some of the theories you guys personally made, where were you at with that, Brandon?
So I try not to get into the whole film theory thing, because I find that, like a couple people I talked to, they're like, oh, well, I hated this movie because it was totally the opposite of what I expected. And it's like, they create their fan script. And of course, it's not going to be your fan script.
Exactly.
Right? And as soon as it deviates from it, terrible. Right. I don't try to, write my own version of the movie before I go in. Right. So I was just going to go, okay, I just want to be entertained. I want to be moved. It's like, I want this to be, if it's any like kind of finale, right? You want to have all those rushes of emotions, right? If it's action packed, I want to be exhilarated, right? If it's funny, like I want to laugh.
Right.
If it's romantic, I want to feel the love on screen. I want to get the feels, right?
Mhm.
If it's dramatic, you know, I want to feel the drama. If it's scary, I want to feel it. And I think all those emotions, they hit those levels here, right? The action was exhilarating. The drama was dramatic. Those heartfelt moments and those heart-wrenching moments were like, you know, like you guys were saying in the theater, people were like,
Yep.
so I think going into a finale, that's all I look for a movie. You know, just if it hits all those emotional moments, then I'm satisfied. You know, if it's like, oh well, I wanted Cap to use his shield to hit this, and it's like I wanted Falcon to use this move and it didn't. Oh well, crap. You know, so now you have a preconceived notion.
I wanted Hawkeye in the film. Where's Hawkeye?
Like,
That's when I walked out. My friend took me back. Like, oh, Ron, sit back down.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, you know what? Screw it. You know, it's like we're not screenwriters. We're not writing this movie. And it's like, hey, the filmmakers didn't do what I thought they were gonna do. Like in my own fan version. Like, how could they? Yeah, people get so offended in it. So there's that route to go into a movie. But then I just think, you know, like, why do we go to theaters in the beginning? Right. You know, if you really think about it, what are we doing? We're driving out of our house to sit in a room with 300 other strangers. I don't know how big theaters are really, but just to sit in a theater for 2 hours and then go home. Right. If you really think about it, it's not the most exciting thing, but it's that rush of adrenaline, of those emotions. If that can happen, then I'm satisfied. And Infinity War did that better than any other film in the MCU.
Well said, man. And I want to get you guys' thoughts on this scene here. So we got the post-credit scene. Thoughts, Ron and Chris and David and Q. Is this, are we looking at scrolls, or is this actually Nick Fury and Marie Hill that are actually, are they them, or is he scrolls? What do you guys thoughts on, you know, Nick Fury?
From what I can remember, this was right before Captain Marvel, right? Because Captain Marvel kind of is that what happened? Captain Marvel came out like in March, and then
yeah. This so after Infinity War, we had Ant-Man, then Captain Marvel, and then
okay,
you know, if I'm not mistaken, double check.
Okay, yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, just seeing the whole Captain Marvel thing, I have to believe it. This might be a scroll thing going on, but I don't know. Yeah.
Dude, I just felt bad for Ted, man. Robin gets melted right away.
Yeah.
No, but for all jokes aside, I thought this was really cool because you wonder what's going on in other parts of the world when, you know, we're not on the battlefield. And I love these little moments to like get the world building of the MCU is one of the strongest points, in my opinion.
Agreed. And there she is, Captain Marvel, coming into the MCU. So, what a film, guys. I think we can all agree it's the #1 film thus far. As they say, Thanos will
Still gets the vapors.
Yeah. Great film. I have it here. And again, I still want to get you guys' thoughts. I didn't hear Ron's, Q, and Chris and Dave's thoughts on just impact on the Infinity War and where you guys were at during these closing moments. But let me pull up something here too, just to kind of, again, it's celebrating its 2-year anniversary this Monday. And let's kind of look at what this film was able to do prior to Endgame coming out. So we look at the numbers here, guys, and I mean, this is box office mojo. It did everything that people expected it to do in regards to domestic box office, international box office, worldwide, $2 million film. And then we look at this number here. This, I don't even know if we can fathom. Obviously, Endgame did 300, but just $257 million opening weekend for a 2.5-hour film, which we have the conversations when, you know, everyone was talking about Endgame. There's no way it can crack 300 million because you can't have that many movies in the screen playing at one time. A 3-hour film, all that stuff got demolished. But you know, 2 years later, Infinity War, and like I said, we all can agree is our favorite film in the MCU so far. Brandon, starting off with you, man. Do you think this will remain your #1 film for a while? We'll talk about the future as we did earlier, but just kind of final thoughts on Infinity War and just, you know, where you're at with the film.
Do I think that this will stay my #1?
For the foreseeable future, yeah.
I mean, never say never, right? I think it will, only because, like, again, like I've said it multiple times, like I'm all about stakes, and I can't really see, you know, like the Black Widow movie having the exact same stakes as Infinity War. Right, or having like Doctor Strange 2 having the same stakes as this movie. So I don't think so. But then again, you know, of course I want to see a movie that absolutely floors me. So I'm keeping it open, right? I'm not like just like locking it in there and like not, oh, I can't watch anything else, because then it might have an opportunity to take that away from me as my number one movie. So
Right.
I hope I'm proven wrong, right? I want to see better movies all the time, right? But I don't think it will be. But I mean, who knows? We need to see the movies before I can say anything.
Definitely. No, same with you, Ron, in regards to as we just saw the box office, what it did prior to Endgame. It was the, biggest opening weekend for any film in the history. But just kind of final thoughts about Infinity War and, in regards to it being your number one now and maybe not number one in the next phase.
Well, and I'm sorry to throw you like this, Brandon. Please don't throw no stand at me. Please, let me just hear what I got to say.
Mm-hmm.
I understand what you say, but me, personally, I'm going to plant my flag and I'm going to look around the crowd and be like, this is where I stand. You got to knock me off my cliff to prove me wrong. Mm-hmm. I will, for now, Infinity War is going to be my number one for everything that I wanted the movie to be. And it was, and it pushed it even further for what it gave me. It gave me 10 times more than I wanted. And I appreciate that very, very much. But look, in the future, there's so many things that could come up. There's so many things that can be developed, and how we can build up to the next big thing. And hey, maybe I'll get socked in the face with the right hand and then Infinity War will get knocked down. But until then, no way, Jose. This right here, Infinity War will always be number one. I just can't take that away from my heart.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Q. What's final thoughts on Infinity War, man, and where it ranks for you and what you see in the future?
Yeah. As for Infinity War, it exceeded my expectations. I did not expect what I was expecting a great movie because Marvel has a great track history, but what I seen there was just all around, just superb filmmaking. I think, it's following Thanos as he goes on this heist to get these stones, and they took such care with characters. When having so many characters on the screen, how do you make this work? And they made it work perfectly and have us. I mean, you got me invested for the first minute in the movie when Thanos bodies Hulk, and kills Loki. Like, yo, this is it. This is only 5 minutes into the movie, so it had me invested the whole time. And as for this ever being top, I'm always gonna keep my options open, but it's gonna be a real tough cookie to try to get to this point again. You know what I'm saying? This is like over, spanning over a 9-year, 10-year arc right now. You know what I'm saying? When this came out, so this was the one that we had to see. This is the big event. Can my mind be blown again? Sure. Like you said, we probably had some Dr. Doom, Silver Surfer, Galactus in the future, X-Men. Yeah. I mean, the future's still bright with Marvel, but as of right now, this is my favorite film in the MCU.
Awesome. Chris, what's your thoughts, man? Infinity War, where it's at now, or where it could be in maybe 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, man. Like I've been saying, being like a comic book reader and all this stuff, like the Silver Surfer, and the way that like the Fantastic Four sort of get you into like the cosmic realm. I would love to see that happen, because how do you top the scale of what we just watched and what we're going to watch tomorrow in Endgame? You got to go even bigger. You got to go literally to the stars. I know that's corny, but I think that's the only way for them to top this. So unless they do that, unless they really do something that is better than this, I don't see that happening, but there is a chance. And so that's what gives me hope. The fact that we have barely touched the cosmos, we haven't even touched the supernatural yet. So the fact that there's still, like I've been saying, in this sandbox, more little shovels and things to like play with and craft stuff with, that gives me hope. But this was a beast of a movie, and I enjoyed rewatching it with you guys. Yeah, that's for sure.
Same here, man. And David, go ahead, man. In regards to just final thoughts on Infinity War and where you're at with the film and the future.
Yeah, so I agree with Ron in the sense that, this sets the staple of what a Marvel movie can be. So from now on, like, they better be just as good. Do I think so? No. But this is going to be my top, of course, for right now. But going, back to what Brandon said about, we don't know what's to come. So there is going to be other things that are blowing our mind continuously. Let's be real, guys. We're living in the moment. So there's things that are always continually blowing our minds, right? It's something that's always going to one up before, or we're gonna compare it to. That's why film, I think, is so much different over the time because of what they had predecessor wise. You always have people comparing it to, it was kind of like that movie in the 80s or the 90s, or even 40s, 50s, whatever it is. There's so much movies coming out. So I think 2021, because I think 2020 is over, but 2021 is going to bring to light a lot, not only from just Marvel, but DC or just any other movies in general, superhero movies or not. I think we're in store for a big next year for sure.
Yeah, no, well said, guys. Like, again, I'm right in the same boat with you. I'm always one that what can you do next, right? What can you do next, Disney, Kevin Feige? And so far they've proven that they have a lot of tricks up their sleeves. Again, as we talked about, Fantastic Four, X-Men, and so many other characters getting their own TV shows and expanding on the character development. So when we see a She-Hulk in the movie, we're already familiar with it. When we see Moonlight and all those characters that we're going to get on TV, I think it's the future's bright, as we talked about a little bit earlier. Looking at the future of the MCU, and we'll kind of wrap this up and final thoughts and excitement level of the future. But just want to kind of get you guys' thoughts again on what the future looks like for the MCU. What's your most anticipated film from this list? What's your thoughts on what we're looking at in the next 2 years? So we're getting a lot of content from the MCU in the next 2 years. So Brandon, out of these slate of films, man, what's your most anticipated film in the future?
I mean, the fact that they're bringing back Natalie Portman is intriguing. I don't know too much about Eternals or Shang-Chi. Like I don't have the comic knowledge to back me up, but I do like the fact that they're bringing back Sam Raimi for Doctor Strange too. I think that's a pretty good choice. And the fact that, they brought back J.K. Simmons for Far From Home, just for even that one little scene, like they're kind of paying homage to there have been Marvel movies before the MCU. And I'm just going to say Doctor Strange just because of Sam Raimi. And, I'm sure that he's going to have a lot of CGI in his film. Of course, this is Marvel, and this is a film coming out in 2020 or 2022. Sorry. But you know what? The thing I like about Sam Raimi is that he's a very in-camera director. Like, I don't know if you guys remember like the final fight between Spider-Man and Green Goblin. Like, it's all hand-to-hand combat in camera, and it felt real gritty. So I'm interested to see, Sam Raimi bring like that style. Like, and he's been making horror movies, back in the day. So, kind of bring his vision to the MCU. I think that's going to be pretty interesting.
So Doctor Strange is Brandon's most anticipated in this next phase. Ron, I would love to know what your most anticipated film is from this list. And also, going off of what Brandon said, Sam Raimi, will we get a dancing scene with Doctor Strange?
I hope so. Who knows?
If we're gonna see Doctor Strange bust a move on us, hey, look, I ain't gonna say no to that. I'll probably jump to dance in the theater myself. But I can see I can hope that maybe Eternals will be like a Guardians of the Galaxy where none of us have any expectations for it. We have no idea what we're going to get out of it, but it could just shock us. And then we'll see it in the next Disney ride. That could possibly happen.
Oh yeah.
But for me, and I said this earlier, I'm going to ride off with Brandon that I'm more with Doctor Strange because I think I've grown with Scarlet Witch and her growth as the character and seeing how she's evolved. So her being a part of the movie incites me even more. And then knowing that WandaVision leads up to this movie, I really want to see where they'll go with it. And what you said, Elliot, maybe too, how maybe Scarlet Witch might be turning to a villain, down the road. We don't know. Could be. So I'm going with that.
That's a great pick. David, in regards to this list here, my friend, what's got you most excited?
Oh man, honestly, everything on here has me a little excited. Even Black Widow, like I said, is kind of at the bottom of the tier. But I feel like that's one of those. It could be, and I'm probably gonna get crucified for this, but like a filler movie, because a lot of people thought Ant-Man was a filler movie, just kind of like a fun, but it's like leading up to other larger properties, right, or larger character movies. But I'm definitely gonna check that one out. Eternals is probably the biggest mystery of how it's gonna hit. It might be a hit, it might be a miss, especially when you have so many characters to focus on. And you have a lot of A-list celebrities in that movie, of course, like Kumail. You have, is it Angelina Jolie? You have, I think, Salma Hayek's in that one as well, right? So,
Jon
I mean,
Snow himself,
yeah, you have so many in there, and as well as Shang-Chi, it's one of those things where you're going to get an introduction to new faces. So those two movies back to back are going to be kind of a mystery to me, but Thor for sure, I think is probably the biggest one on this list. And then second one would be Black Panther 2 for sure. And then I would love to see what they do with Captain Marvel 2, because like I said, that's like the MCU Superman. So, I mean, how are we going to get a villain that can, go against her, or there has to be some kind of like antagonist in that movie,
Secret Wars, maybe. So yeah, Chris, out of this list, my friend, what's got you most excited for the future of the MCU?
Yeah, so I think I'm kind of with David in the sense that like I'm curious to see where they go with all of it, you know, because
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
excited about this new territory that we're about to plunge into. But if I had to pick from this list, I would go with Shang-Chi solely because Simu, I think it's Liu. I'm not quite sure to say his last name. I apologize if I messed that up, but I'm a huge fan of this tiny little sitcom in Canada called Kim's Convenience. And he is absolutely brilliant on that show. So I'm excited to see his range on a more serious role, and especially as a leading man. I think he has a lot to offer because that show gets pretty intense if you've seen it. But to be honest with you, that new Guardians movie can't come soon enough. I'm very upset that got pushed back because of this whole quarantine stuff. But if I had to pick from this list, I'd say Shang-Chi, probably followed by Black Panther, because I really enjoy what they do with Wakanda and that whole side of things. We haven't seen enough of it for me yet, personally.
No, great picks, man. Especially, the 10 Rings playing a bigger part into the MCU as we got with Iron Man 1. The real identity of the Mandarin. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Awkwafina is a great actress. I'm excited to see her in the film. And that's a great pick, man. So, Q, man, what's got you excited, my friend? What's on this list that you just cannot? You're buying your tickets right now for this film.
Oh, if I'm buying my tickets right now, I'm buying it for Black Panther 2. Ryan
Awesome.
Coogler has been on fire. Ryan Coogler has been on fire. I don't think he got that many movies, actually. It was Creed, and then it's Black Panther, right?
Yeah, Fruitvale Station, Creed,
Fruitvale Station,
Panther,
and Black Panther 2. So Coogler are gonna come with it. He's one of my favorite new young directors. So I'm really, and he brings a fresh energy to set, and he gets everybody excited. And the cultural impact that Black Panther has, I think it can do it right again, if not even bigger this time. So if I'm buying my ticket first day, it's gonna be for Black Panther 2. Taika Waititi, he just was nominated for Academy Award for I can't think of the movie.
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit movie.
Yeah.
He's back. Yeah, he's back for Love and Thunder. I know he's gonna knock that junk out of the park. I know he's gonna kill it. Taika Waititi and Sam Raimi from Spider-Man, Evil Dead 2, one of my favorite horror movies. I'm super excited about that. I got those three right there, in that order. Captain Marvel, I think, is going to have a chance to come off better than I think it did in the first movie. I think whatever director they pick or whatever, I think they're going to do a little bit more with her to get us more invested in her, since they put in a lot of faith into Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. Black Widow, I think it's going to be dope. I think it's going to be in the same vein as like a Winter Soldier or something like that. Eternals is the only one I'm not a whole lot sure about. That's the one in mystery, and Shang-Chi as well. So I'm curious to see those as well. But my money goes for Black Panther 2 if I had to pick out of this list for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you guys just hit the nail on the head. All these films look exciting. Even I think a lot of us can say Black Widow, and some people will be some off these comments before we head out. But Black Widow, it should have been out maybe 10 years ago. But there's like you said, Q, that approach that they're this kind of spy espionage, Jason Bourne, Winter Soldier vibes. It should be really interesting. But if I were to pick a list, and I'm very excited for Eternals, celestial beings, and this little bit of the Thanos background, and you have the deviants, and you have so much going on with Eternals. It's going to be a great film. The cast, as David pointed, is incredible. But if I were to pick a film from this list, and it hurts me to say that Black Panther isn't my number one, I love Wakanda. I love, like you said, Ryan Coogler is amazing. I love Brie Larson. I know she's got a lot of flack over the last couple years with the marketing and all that stuff, but she's a fantastic actress, and I'm really excited to see what they do with Captain Marvel 2. But my money's going with, and I love Taika Waititi as well, and she's going to be great. But Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, one of the coolest subtitles I think I've heard in a very long time. The possibilities, as we talked a little bit about DC earlier, and we could talk about the Flash and the Flashpoint storyline and him kind of resetting that timeline. I kind of see Doctor Strange 2 as opening the portals to, as we talked about, the supernatural. We might see Blade make an appearance. We might see, as we talked about, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire make an appearance in another alternate universe.
Oh man!
That Doctor Strange opens. We talked about Scarlet Witch maybe being a little bit of a villain potentially. Obviously, she's going to probably team up with them to take out maybe Nightmare as the villain of Doctor Strange 2. So that film just has so many possibilities. Sam Raimi's a great director. I know that I guess the creative differences between Kevin Feige and Scott Derrickson came to be that he wanted to make it the first rated, or not rated R, but the first horror film in the MCU. and wanted to kind of go on that, and Kevin Feige and them, I guess, kind of butted heads. But you don't hire Sam Raimi to make a happy-go-lucky film. There's going to be some horror tinges in that film. So for me, as Doctor Strange, I cannot wait for this film come March 25th of 2022, which is just crazy to say out loud. But the future's looking bright, guys. I'm excited to see what the MCU has for us. We're going to wrap this up here in a bit. I just want to read off some of these comments before we head out and get you guys' thoughts. Perk-minded. And again, before we read off these comments, guys, everyone that came into this stream, drop the comment, subscribe to everyone's channel to show them support. We can't thank you guys enough. This was an incredible experience, and we'll talk about that, as we wrap up. But I thank you guys that came by, dropped a comment, dropped a subscribe, a thumbs up. We can't thank you guys enough, because as we all know, we're all kind of content creators, whether it be on YouTube or Instagram or whatever the case may be. And it's not easy. We don't always get the results we're looking for in our videos, but I think everyone can attest to this on this channel, on this stream. We put a lot of our heart and energy into our videos, and we really appreciate the support, guys. So before we wrap up, Perk-minded had mentioned a little bit about the OG Avengers and Fantastic Four all together in one film. That will be very incredible to see, and we'll get that hopefully sooner rather than later. We got a little comments here about Black Widow should have been released earlier. They're releasing a prequel after the fact. Yeah, there's that. Imagine seeing Wakanda in Infinity War for the first time. So again, guys, as we wrap up, Brandon, again, man, let everyone know where they can find you, what you're looking forward to, what's your next video we can look forward to. We're going to see you tomorrow for Endgame, but just final thoughts.
Yeah, well, first of all, Elliot, thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad I was able to meet all you guys finally. This was a lot of fun. Like, I was always kind of wondering, like, oh, what's gonna happen? Like, are we just gonna have is there gonna be like a boring moment, or like everyone's like, all right, what do I say now? Or like one person talks more than the person. But I think I think we got a good group of guys here. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I like this group. So yeah, thanks for having me, first of all. But yes, I have Instagram at BrandoCritic, but my main content is on the YouTube channel at BrandoCritic. And because of quarantine, I'm definitely working on a lot of older reviews. You can see a review coming out tomorrow morning. It's actually a re-review of one of my first videos, and it's one of my most popular videos. It's getting the most views, and I'm looking at it, and it's like, I didn't really know what I was doing yet. I had my iPhone, and I have like my terrible posture. I'm like, all right, guys, this is movie, and it's like, oh God, like, bring some enthusiasm to it. So I thought I'd redo it. So that movie is Braveheart. So that review,
oh wow,
tomorrow morning. So yeah, you can find me on BrandoCritic on YouTube and BrandoCritic on Instagram, and I'm definitely planning on doing more watch-alongs on my channel as well, but also I will be here tomorrow for Endgame. So thanks for everyone who came out. Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Ron, same thing, my friend. Where can the people find you? What can we expect from you next? And kind of wrapping it up, my friend.
Oh man. First of all, yeah, again, Elliot, thank you, brother. Thank you for allowing me to join with you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. I ain't no critic. I ain't like you guys. I love watching films and shows, for fun for myself, but I ain't shy to say that I had a blast with each and every one of you guys. You guys are talented, y'all gifted, and I know y'all gonna go far. God bless all of you guys. Y'all won't see me. You can follow me on Instagram at Ron_Smith10. On YouTube, Ronald E Smith. Don't forget the E. Don't ever forget that. And for me, I interview people. So, Lord, I've been sending some people out. I've been trying to get some word in. I got some good, some bad, but I'm trying to get the word to start even more people. And then on my channel, more down the road, when I get more spirit, you will see more of some broadcasting content of that, most sports. So down the road, you'll see that. But until then, don't forget me. Don't forget these young men right here, because we knock it all out of the park, bar none. Okay. Thank you again, Elliot.
Well said, my friend. Anytime. And David, a man out in the West Coast, man, what can people find you? What can we expect next? Floor is yours.
Oh man, I think I might hit the beach and go party with everybody on the beach tomorrow. But, no,
bring the suntan. Go, don't forget that, man. I don't want you to get burned.
No, I'm totally kidding. So I think for tomorrow, Q actually just did a review for the new Mortal Kombat, which I did catch a couple of days ago, the Scorpion's Revenge. I thought it was dope, so I think I might review that, if anything. But one thing I've really wanted to live stream is some retro gaming, like Nintendo, Super Nintendo. So I might do a live stream of some retro game if you guys are into stuff like that. Definitely follow my channel, links below, guys. But you know what? Thank you so much to Movie Files, Elliot, man. You got me into doing my first watch along, just watching your stuff. So maybe more watch alongs coming up in the next couple of days. So definitely look forward to that. But yeah, that'll be my Sunday.
Awesome. And then Chris, man, where can people find you and Dom's podcast? What you guys got coming up next, man? You guys did a good job on that. I know it was your first time watching Social Network, man. But yeah, what can the people expect from you next, and where can they find you?
Yeah, so first off, Elliot, thank you so much for having me here today. We've been doing the podcast for only 6 months, and we've only been on YouTube for a month. So I appreciate all you guys just, having like the new kids on the block in here and just giving us a chance. It means a lot. And like Ron said, I love all you guys' content. I followed all you guys. I've been checking it out. And I wish you all the best of luck. And I hope to do this again. This was a blast. As far as for where you can find us, right down there at Talkin TV Podcast. We do reviews of TV shows, movies. I'm actually going to start pumping out some solo content on our YouTube channel. I'm going to be watching Ricky Gervais's Afterlife season 2 when we get off this live stream right here, and I'm going to be throwing up a thoughts video about that. And we're just staying active. That's the hub to find us on Instagram at Talkin TV Podcast, and we post daily. We post all the time, and we'd love to see you guys there. And if you subscribe throughout this, thank you so much. We appreciate you giving us your time. And Elliot, man, I got to thank you one more time for being a gracious host, dude. This was a blast.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure, man. And I can't thank you guys enough. And then Q, man, where can the people find you? What can we expect from you next? I know we can see you on Jody's Corner having some great debates and conversations there, but what can we expect from you next, my friend?
Oh, yeah. Well, like everyone, thank you so much, Elliot, for having me on. I've been following your channel for a while. You always do great work. You're very insightful. Your vocabulary is dope. I wish I can't do that like that, so I just have to be stupid and do dope stuff. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on. So it's a blast. It's so awesome to see content creators like yourself and everybody else in here, that we have a community that we can come and talk about the things we love. So I'm really appreciative to that, and all the people in the chat too. So subscribe and chat. I really appreciate it. As for what I'm working on next, I'm editing my Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter review.
Ooh,
nice.
That one should be fun. I got a little green screen work I was doing with a little special dance from Kristen Glover. Yeah.
There you go.
Then after that, I'm working on my Black as AF that's on Netflix. That was pretty good. I'm working on a review for that, and a review probably for Resident Evil Nemesis, my first game review for the PS4. Yeah, the remake. Yeah, and that's about it. And once again, man, thanks for having me on. This was a blast. I couldn't believe it. Just sit and talked about Infinity War for 2 hours. It was a blast, man. Thank you so much, Elliot. That's awesome.
Hey guys, it is my pleasure. Before we head out, let me just a couple other comments before we go. I just want to make sure everyone.
I want to see Q review House Party 2. You got to put that on your watch list next.
I will do it for Jabby. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. You got it.
Name. Awesome. So I'm just going through these comments before we head out. And again, guys, I appreciate everyone that dropped a comment, that put a heart on the video, thumbs up, that subscribes to all these awesome content creators pages, their Instagrams and their YouTube. So just want to make sure I don't miss any of these great comments you guys left out. Yeah, Chinchu
Kung Fu Hustle.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be Christian Bale. We got Christian Bale. Obviously, he's gonna be in the next Thor movie. Excited to see that. Really hope it was darker with Doctor Strange. Yeah, I really again, you don't bring in Sam Raimi to make a Disney Pixar film, so it's gonna have its dark moments. I'm excited for that. And I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything else? Perk, we appreciate you supporting our content, my friend Connor as well, and everyone again that came by and dropped a comment, that followed all these awesome content creators pages. We can't thank you guys enough. Again, YouTube is a fun, it's interactive. It has its highs, it has its lows, but we put a lot of heart and passion in our content, and this is what it's about. It's about community. It's about reaching out to others, and especially during these times, collaborating and supporting each other's content. So This will not be the last time you see these wonderful gentlemen on this channel. I hope to get on their content and vice versa. This has been an awesome experience, guys. Again, Brandon, Ron, Q, Chris, David, you guys have been awesome. Again, for you guys that's looking for some more content tomorrow, we have, let me bring it up here. Brandon and Chris will be joining me tomorrow with a couple other awesome content creators. And we will be talking about this movie that I'm pulling up here. Where is it at? There we go. There we go. And also thank you, Chris, for making this template here. But tomorrow we will be watching Endgame at 5 p.m. Central Time. In regards to content I'll have coming out, I just watched the movie Time for Hunt. It was can't think of it, a Korean film that was really good. I'm going to be reviewing that here shortly, and got a lot of content coming for you guys as far as TV and movies and all that fun stuff. So definitely subscribe to all of our channels. Follow us on all of our social media accounts. Again, guys, you have been awesome. I will be seeing Brandon and Chris tomorrow, and Q, Ron, David. This won't be the last time. You won't be seeing these guys. You'll be seeing these guys again in the future on this channel and all these content creators. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, guys. This was
pleasure
amazing.
to be here.
Be safe, guys.
Yeah.
Be safe, you and your families, guys. God bless each and every one of you guys. All right. Don't do anything else to do. Just promise you that.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, stay in touch, everyone. This was a blast, and I hope to see you all soon.
Awesome. Well, guys,
Sure.
again, thank you for coming on. Subscribe to all these content creators. Give them support. Everyone be safe, and we'll see you tomorrow for Endgame.
Y'all be blessed.